Let's get this sports podcast party started, all right?
The J Reels Podcast.
Why don't you wait until July 1st to make an announcement? What a disgrace. He can rack up all these numbers in October, November, and December, but what really counts is let me see this in January.
The sports rebel without a pause, delivering fast-paced, jam-packed sports talk like no other.
Listen, I gotta call it as I see it. He is not a good player. I'm sick and tired of having to deal with the disappointment of this franchise. When does it stop? And yes, another winter that I can sleep in peace. Coming correct, direct, and in full effect. Let's get it.
This is the J Reels Podcast. Welcome aboard.
What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic, in excellent spirits as we get through a championship weekend. And now things may start to quiet down in the sports world, but that's all right, because as long as I'm here, I will deliver anything and everything that the sports world has to offer, as this is the J Reels Podcast with Jose Reels. For my first timers, welcome aboard. And for those who've been banging with me going back to the very beginning, somewhere in the middle of even as early as this past Thursday, I welcome you guys and gals back, and I see the room populating. J-Rod is back. I see the name. Shout out to Val, J-Rod, of course, Bio. If you can hear me loud and clear, let me know in the chat room, because I am actually chopping it up with Chosen. All right, caught you at the start. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm sure you can hear me loud and clear. I have a different mic setup, because I want the experience to be that much better. Not that there was anything wrong with the previous setup, but I got an audio interface starting to build little by little. I got to thank my stepmother for that one. So if you can hear me loud and clear, give me a thumbs up or just whatever it is in the chat room. I'd really appreciate it. Fishing Angel, good morning. Great to see everybody hop on board here on an early Monday. And unfortunately for those, I got to start off with the soccer, but I'm going to get to that in a moment, because I had a wild and crazy weekend. I'll talk more about it on the back end, but Friday night I went outside Yankee Stadium. If you didn't watch the live on my channel, check it out. You'll see me in guerrilla filmmaking fashion as I'm tracking down potential talent, whatever you want to call it, interviewees, so where I could go out and just try to get as much content as I possibly could. Definitely check that out. And then Saturday I went to the Fanatics Fan Fest, New York City, the third year in a row they've done it. I went on Saturday. I also did a live on that, but I want to talk about both of those things on the back end, because I think you'll get a kick out of it just from a perspective of somebody who's been doing this independently for the love for, listen, I love what I do. It's fantastic. It's great. And I'm just glad that you guys and gals are here to share, or at least be a participant in me sharing this with you. So all I got to say is thank you all for hopping on board, as always. I know I say profusely. And for those who are listening on Apple and Spotify, they must be saying, Jay Reels, come on, can we just get to the sports? In my zone, waiting for some sports chatter from yours truly, and all I'm getting is Fanatics Fan Fest, and I'm getting a new mic setup, and I'm getting what happened there outside Yankee Stadium on Friday. All right, well, it's all encapsulating, because where I'm going to start off with, and I get it, I got baseball, I got the Open Championship, but the soccer, I have to put a lid on the World Cup yesterday, the final. I understand you had the third place game, which is a bit of a joke. I get it. They're going to do that, where it's important from the grand scheme of things when we get into yesterday's game, and I'll explain that later on. But all I'm going to say about yesterday was Spain, as I mentioned there on Thursday's podcast, if they were going to play anything close to the way they played France, they were going to win the game, and that's what you saw. I mean, did Argentina even get a shot on goal in the first 90 minutes of the game? I understand they had that one opportunity about 4 minutes in where the goalkeeper came out and was able to throttle an opportunity where Argentina could have gone up there, but to me, it wasn't really that close. They were able to save the day as far as not having the striker, I forgot who it was off the top of my head, have an opportunity. And this was after Lamine Yamal had a shot there deep where he got a clean shot, but it was right at the goalkeeper, who Martinez was phenomenal, had the most saves in the history of a World Cup final. What do you have, 11 saves, I believe? But this was all Spain. No matter how you slice it, dice it. And that was one of the things I tell you on Thursday's podcast. I thought to myself that if Argentina is going to have any magic, they would have to do it early in this matchup. It's almost as if they were going up against a big-time starting pitcher. And you know, when you are able to get to a stud ace in the first inning or maybe first couple of innings to kind of shake his core, that's what Argentina needed to do. And it didn't. They were a non-factor pretty much throughout the entire match. And Spain was in their element. They were in their groove. They had opportunity after opportunity. And even though they didn't break through until you got to the extra time, but you could just see it was a matter of time before they were going to be able to break through. And this is what I'm going to say about the match overall, which is part of the headline or the title that I have. Because let's face it, if there was one thing I was praying, whether it be Spain or Argentina, and as I'm sure you know by now, I did pick Spain to win. But I am so glad that Spain got the go-ahead and ended up getting the winning goal there toward the end of the first extra time. Yeah, it was right at the 105 mark. Let me double-check that. Because let's face it, let's just say if it went into the penalty kicks, it would have been a disaster. And I understand that's the rules. There isn't anything I could do to change it. And the funny thing is that 4 years ago, you had the match go into penalty kicks between Argentina and France. And it was a thing where I came on the podcast literally, the next day, because that was a Sunday in late November. And I said, you're going to have a great match like this now all of a sudden be decided by penalty kicks? And I had all the soccer fans get at me. So, Jay Wheels, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, you want to change the rules. Oh, typical American, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's like ending a Super Bowl going into overtime. And let's say after the first overtime, all right, now let's settle it with who's going to kick the longest field goal or a home run derby to decide Game 7, Dodgers-Blue Jays. Seriously? And I understand soccer's a different beast. You're not going to have these guys collapse. You're not going to take players off the field. I would think just have unlimited substitutions. Because to me, what would make the overtime or the extra time or just sudden death, forget about scoring the goal and then playing it out. At that point, after you get to the 90th minute and then you play the extra time, at that point, it's sudden death. And you can substitute during stoppages. Now, you can't do it every 5 seconds. I get that. So let's say the ball goes out of bounds. You just can't have players coming in and out of the match. But you definitely can play this game until somebody makes a mistake. And that's the beauty of sports. How many times have we seen it in any sport? Whether the player's just tired and they weren't able to get back, whether it be in hockey, and they play 3, 4, 5 overtimes. I understand they're in skates and it's a smaller surface than a soccer field, but still. Now, I understand I'm saying all this and it's moot, but this is why Spain, in my eyes, saved the World Cup final. Because if this would have gone to penalty kicks, to me, in my eyes, would have ruined the game. Just like I say, I give you the examples of the home run derby and extra innings in a Game 7, or out of kicking field goals, I guess. Who knows? Or maybe flag football. Now, I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. Or a three-point contest in an NBA final, Game 7. It just doesn't make any sense. But thankfully, it didn't get to that. And with Spain scoring that goal, and let's face it, Nico Williams, who was tremendous late in that match, had that breakaway where, again, the goaltender Martinez was phenomenal. He took that high shot, and it caromed all the way to the middle of the field. Then that's when you had that situation where I believe that was when the red card came up from Enzo Fernandez, which is a terrible play on his part. And I understand we can break down some of these fouls there late, and I get it. You had this scenario after the match where one guy's choking another. I mean, I get it. Frustration. The tempers were flaring. You just played 2 hours plus of a match where you end up losing. But Nico Williams, who had that one shot, that breakaway there, right at the 90th minute, I think it was a second or minute or two after that. Then the header to pass to get the game-winning goal to, I believe it was Torres. I take that back. Maybe it was not. I believe it was Torres who got the game winner. As I pull up the box score. Yeah, Torres did get but that was just an amazing play by Williams, who headed it over and got it right there over the goalkeeper at the top of the net. And as I said, that was a big exhale because how I looked at it was even if Argentina, let's say, would have tied it and it would have gone to a penalty kick, that would have been rough. But thankfully, it didn't get to that. And that's why, to me, and it wasn't a classic game by any stretch. I don't want to hear people saying, oh, that was an all-time great closing to what was a great World Cup. And it was. I mean, there isn't any way you could dispute that. But how I look at it was the game itself, it wasn't great. It was lopsided. I mean, Spain dominated the game. It was like watching the France game. I didn't watch the game. I just watched the highlights. But when you had Spain just locked in and suffocated Argentina, I understand they made a flurry there late. The corner kick by Messi, which was that close. And there was another opportunity where they had a shot there right in front of the net and it went wide. And give it up. I mean, Argentina, of course, they were going to throw everything in the kitchen sink there to do whatever they could to tie the game. But let's face it, Spain had control. Spain was dominant. It was a carbon copy of that semifinal game. And what could you say? Nico Williams makes the header pass. They get the goal. There, I believe it was on the 106th minute. I said 105th. So Spain, what more can you say? Another World Cup, their second World Cup. I believe, 2010 was their first World Cup when they won 16 years ago. Cheers as I'm drinking H2O for those watching. And I'll get to the comments momentarily. But when you have a scenario where this game looked like it was going to head into, and granted, you still had 14 minutes, but it was going to head, or 15, it was going to head into the penalty kicks. And I was just saying to myself, oh, please. The first thing I would have just destroyed it. And I understand there are a gazillion soccer fans that would have the thumbs down and say, Jay Reels, talk about baseball or talk about the NFL or basketball. Don't talk about our sport. But you know what? I followed these last 6 weeks more than I've ever followed soccer. Even 2022 with that World Cup in Qatar, I was going through it and I have to go back to the old podcast there in the archives. But yeah, I was locked in, dialed in, as more as I ever have been. And I get it that the soccer fan could get at me and say, Jay Reels, you don't know what you're talking about. But I will say this before I pivot. I have my good friend, John Irving, who I talked about a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week when England lost. And here it was, a situation where this guy who's a trusted source, I've known him over 40 years and have watched more soccer than I could even probably ever imagine. And after that Argentina-France game, and he's an American, so it's not like he's from overseas, and I get it, he's always a typical American, but he's watched soccer, he's followed soccer, he knows it a whole hell of a lot more than me. And when I brought it up to him 4 years ago that, hey, should it come down to penalty kicks? And he said, no, it should not. The final. I can see all the games leading up to the final. It's going to go to penalty kicks. Not a problem. That I can understand. But the final, that has to be played until either sudden death, 3 a.m, somebody makes an egregious mistake. I get it. You got to look at these players who are running 8 miles a game. But you know what? Run another 8. They're that conditioned. They want to win the game. They're going to show how desperate they are to try to do whatever it takes. That's the beauty of sports, not having to come down to penalty kicks. Well, anyway, it's all moot. Spain wins, and you had Rodri get the MVP. What is it called? The Golden Ball Award for the MVP of the tournament. And we all know that Rodri is a guy that defensively is one of the best in the world, if not the best, and had been tremendous throughout this run. So you got to give it up for what he did and what obviously Spain did on a whole. And the goalkeeper was, I mean, listen, I could have played goal yesterday, and I guess I had one opportunity. I believe he made one save in the game there late. But you could have had me back there and it would have won. But the goalkeeper for Argentina he stood on his head. A lot of them, of course, he was able to manage, but he had a lot of those tough shots. The aforementioned Nico Williams, where looked like that was going to be a goal. Breakaway, took that nice shot high, and I mean, that was just tremendous. But between that and then also for the most goals scored was Mbappe, and this is why I got to go back to, and that's the Golden Boot Award for the most goals throughout the tournament. This is why I got to go back to Saturday, because as I'm driving around at that point, I was after the Fanatics Fest, and England was playing France, and I saw that England got up 4-0, and I thought to myself, wow, France was already on the plane ready to go back home. They didn't want to play in this game. Little did I know that the game ended being 6-4. I'm driving by this one bar, and England, I guess, put the capper. I think it was Jude Bellingham who had that final goal. And when I noticed that Mbappe had 2 goals in the game, more than Messi, so he gets the golden boot. Listen, is that a big deal? I guess it is. When you look at it, I'm sure Mbappe's going to look at that award and probably put it in his closet somewhere. But between the MVP, and I understand it's not called the MVP. Let me be politically correct here, because I know the golden boot is for the player who had the most goals, as we know. And the golden ball, I think I said that right the first time, is Rodri for the best player in the tournament. And as your World Cup, and in 4 years, I believe it's going to be played where? If I'm not mistaken, I think it's Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. I believe that's where it's going to be at, the 3 locations, spread it out. So we'll chew on this for 4 years. And if it is, let me just double check if Spain is a part of that. I believe so. Because if that's the case, they're going to be hosting as the defending champ. And I'm sure that is going to be just enormous, knowing that the host country, yes, it is, Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. And I would think that the final has to be in Spain. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Now, it's going to be the 100th year of the event. And then there's going to be opening matches held in Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay. So, all right. And it's June 8th to July 21st. So for those who are already thinking and looking ahead, you're going to have to chew on it for 4 years. And also, there could be some talk about the tournament going from 48 to 64. I get it. It's money. It's more teams in the mix. But, I mean, seriously, are we going to do that? Just like with the NCAA, they're moving up to, 76 now, and college football is going to go to 24 at some point. We don't need that, because those teams that are going to be from 49 to 64, they're going to get annihilated. Was that a ploy? How I looked at it was from afar. Is that a ploy to get Italy back in here, considering that they can't qualify over the last, 3 World Cups? So maybe just possibly in 2030, if they're going to expand to 64, Italy will probably say, well, hey, if we can't qualify for a round of 64 or for a tournament of 64, then we don't even belong. And Italy's won how many World Cups? 3, 4? I mean, unbelievable. But I don't like the expansion if that's what it's going to be. But if that is, so be it. Who am I to say that they shouldn't have that? Even though I could talk about how the other sports, whether it's college football, college basketball, et cetera, and even baseball, they just expanded to 6, and the NFL to 7 back in 2021. I could certainly gripe about that, but I can't get the soccer fan to say, well, you can't talk about that either, Jay Reels, because you don't know soccer, blah, blah, blah. No, listen. Come on, I have an opinion on that. And we all know that those teams are going to be the dregs of the sport and are going to get annihilated. But all right, fine. More money, more teams in the mix. So be it. And if that means Italy happens to somehow, some way sneak themselves in, then it's probably going to be better. Although if they're unable to qualify over these last few years, then what does that mean for 2030 if they do expand? What, they're going to get annihilated right off the bat? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But that is the soccer. And listen, the tournament overall was fantastic. The game yesterday, like I said, anybody wants to come out and say it was a classic? It was not. Classic would have been back and forth, chance for Argentina, chance for Spain, whatever. No, please. It was tilted. One side of the field was all Spain, and Argentina, I guess they were just waiting for their magic late in that match. As we saw, they had a couple opportunities, but come on. The glass slipper broke. And not that they were Cinderella by any stretch, but they could do that against Egypt. They could do that against Switzerland. They could do that against England. They could do that against all these other teams. But with the way Spain played yesterday, they were the better team. They're the World Cup champs, and away we go. All right, let's see. Any Ace Tom, what's happening? Waffle Iron. I do remember you, Ace Tom, or AC Tom, as I see. Just need to see him to confirm it. I confirm it. I got you. I'm with you right here. All right, and of course, Waffle Iron, a.k.a. Rhoda Penmark, Minnesota Fats, Tatsuya Mai. Can't forget Fuqua Johnson, Everyday Mets, Dash Chips, Kai Bowie Bull. That's the one with all the AKAs. So I got to appreciate Waffle Iron for that. And I'll get some more of the comments there in a moment. Let me see. Yeah, the Warriors were the Summer League champs, Val. Val, of course, is from the Bay Area, so the Golden State Warriors. Argentina didn't make efforts. getting shots. No, they did. I mean, Fishing Angel, you're right on top of it. Yeah, too tough to rig. Yeah, you couldn't rig that. Oh, I know. J-Rod, yeah, the breaking news with Ward Manuel. Yeah, I'll get to all that later on. And I'll go back to these comments, I promise you guys. But now I'm going to turn my attention, get into the batter's box for a little baseball. And I'll get to the Open Championship, which I'll be honest, I wasn't on top of a little bit even yesterday, but even then. But I'll talk about that after the baseball because I want to get to that knowing that this past weekend, where you had a scenario where the Boston Red Sox, as I pull up my baseball, hold on a second, where is it? Here we go. Want to make sure I get the standings and the weekend and everything on point for you guys and gals. What is going on there in Fenway? What's in the water? What is just all of a sudden the faucet's been turned on and it's nothing but, I guess, red Kool-Aid? Maybe, perhaps. I don't know what's going on there with the Red Sox, but they have certainly not only turned their fortunes around, but maybe even their season. And I've been back and forth, with my cousin, JD, who you all know, my former radio partner and blood to me, where he's even said they're going to have to make moves at the deadline. Now, they don't have to worry about getting in the way of the division. Now, mind you, they did sweep the Rays, who are in first place. So they made up a nice chunk of ground there, but they're still 6 back and 4 back of the Yankees. So can you say that they're part of the division mix? Not just yet. I won't go as far as saying that, but when you win 13 straight, and think about this, if I do my math correctly, they were 37-48, pretty much almost out to sea. And for whatever the reason, Chad Tracy, the manager of this team, remember Alex Cora got fired back in April. For whatever he's done, the leaks have been sprung in the ship, but I guess whatever he did, whether it's buckets of water off the ship, scotch tape, bubble gum, duct tape, Gorilla Glue, I don't know. But now all of a sudden the team has really put themselves in the mix there as far as the wild card goes. And I won't get to the division just yet, but if I'm a Red Sox fan, and I know JD, he's saying, oh, what are we going to do here? They're definitely going to have to get some offensive firepower because, as we all know, they definitely need more thunder in that lineup. They don't really have an even solid lineup. I mean, come on, the Jaron Durans, the Ceden Rafaelas, Roman Anthony, who I know has been hurt but hasn't had a big-time year. Listen, I don't even know how to even dissect it. We know that their pitching is very good. With Sonny Gray, who should have been on the All-Star team, as you know, 11-1 with a 2 ERA. And who knows, they're going to have to keep Aroldis Chapman at this point to be the closer because they're in the thick of things there in not only just the American League East. All right, I'll give you that just a little bit. Maybe not. I'll reel that back in. Not the East just yet because they're still 6 back, but they're certainly in the mix with a wild card. So I'd have to think that the GM, Craig Breslow, they're going to have to do a thing or two in order for them to put themselves in a position to not only stabilize the wild card, but maybe even take a shot at the division at this point. Because think about it. They have tiebreakers over the Yankees at this current stage. I know the Yankees swept them early on. They beat them then 2 out of 3 in the Bronx. I remember they swept them 4 games. Right now, I believe they have the edge in the season series. It may be right now 7-3 with 3 more games to go at Yankee Stadium. And now that they swept the Rays, I got to see what the season series is with them. Let me see if I can take a quick peek. Well, I got to go back and check, but Boston right now, listen, they're unconscious. And kudos to them. But now you know there's going to be a period to where they're going to cool off. Who knows if they're going to revert back to their April, May, and June selves. But, yeah, I have to wonder whether or not the Red Sox are not only here to stay, but are they going to really make a push there for the American League division, or the American League East, excuse me. Now, I got to see what they do here over the next 2 weeks because, remember, the trade deadline is 2 weeks from today. And despite this hot stretch that they've had, they need reinforcements in that lineup in the biggest way. I mean, they can't expect that this team's going to continue to be on this torrid stretch to the point where they're going to end up clinching a division or even clinching a wild card spot and then thinking that they're going to just pitch their way through October. Now, we understand pitching is what's going to win. You can't have enough pitching, but they're going to need to have some bop in that lineup in order for them to get runs, get some power, and try to make a run at this thing, because other than that, I can see this team cooling off and maybe not regressing to the point where they're going to fall themselves out of the playoff mix, because as you know, the wild card in the American League, you got a bunch of teams there jumbled up. And now with the Red Sox having the final wild card spot in the AL, they're just a game ahead of the Mariners, 2 ahead of Baltimore and Minnesota. And then it trickles down from there with Houston, Toronto, 4.5 back, even the Tigers 4.5 back. So listen, just because they've had this stretch and they can put their feet up, absolutely not, because they're going to have teams that are hot on their trail from now until the end of September. But kudos, tip your cap. And remember, this team who's played well on the road, they're 8 games over. But going into their 4-game series against the Rays, they were 10 under at home. And now that they've swept the Rays and put themselves in a position where now, let's see where they go from here. Now, we understand they're not going to, this winning streak is going to come to a conclusion. But how they pick up from that, and as I've said all along, you win series, you're good to go. Yes, winning streaks are nice, and for them, they needed a winning streak like this in order for them to get themselves in this position to where they could try to wheel and deal over the next 2 weeks, and on top of even fortifying their status here in this wild card mix, as opposed to being 4 games back after winning 10 in a row, or having a 7-game winning streak, but they still have a lot of work ahead of them. Now, as we all know, they still have work to do in order to maintain this spot, but the hard work is done. But now, will they slow down? Will they face off against a hot team and have a challenging week to the point where, let's say, they go 2-4 and then they take a few steps back? That will have to wait and see, but you got to give it up to what the Red Sox have done here. Just a tremendous job, winning 13 in a row and sweeping the Rays to get themselves even closer in an AL East there, where the Yankees and obviously Tampa are still ahead of them. But as far as the rest of the weekend goes, I mean, they're the story, the Red Sox. Dodgers invaded Yankee Stadium over the weekend. Great game there on Friday night. World Series atmosphere, I'm sure, to where the manager, Aaron Boone, I know he's probably still kicking himself knowing that he left in Garrett Cole to pitch to Max Muncy when he had Brett Hedrick ready to come in to face off against Muncy. And what did he do? He hung a slider after walking Mookie Betts, I might add. Hung a slider where Muncy, I believe the ball's still going. If not, it probably landed somewhere in Orchard Beach. But that was a mistake there. And then you had the third base coach, Luis Rojas, did not slow down. Who got thrown out the plate? It was Trent Grisham, when you had Bellinger and I believe Goldschmidt and Bellinger up next after Ben Rice hit that double up the right center field gap. And that was just a terrible call by the third base coach. Why is he letting him go in there when you have not only Goldschmidt, who hits lefties great, although he had that 0 for 30 stretch there a week or so ago, and then Bellinger, come on, you got to give those 2 bats a shot to try to bring them in. And I don't know why he thought, and that was a great play by Mookie Betts too when you think about it, because where Pies got the ball, relayed it in, and Mookie, who had to go get it and throw across his body. Now, the ball was to the right of the catcher, Dalton Rushing, but he was able to come across the plate, make the tag, out bottom of the 8th inning, which would have tied the game, and it was 1-2-3 in the 9th. So you had the blunder there by Boone, who scares you in big spots. I understand that's your horse. I get it that you trust this guy. In the postgame, he said it was his fault, hand raised high in the air. But this is why the Yankees, you got to wonder. This is a big game for them in August. If this was October, he would have been crucified. But because it's the Dodgers, because it's a litmus test, because they're trying to see where they stand against the big bad Dodgers, that was a bad look. You had the rain out there on Saturday, and then the game yesterday where Yamamoto and Schlittler, it wasn't the pitching duel that we hoped, although Schlittler had a lot of strikeouts, but didn't even get past the 5th inning. Yamamoto gets a complete game, was pitched well at Yankee Stadium over his career. And he's only had 2 starts, but he's pitched well. And the game was close there. It was 2-0 and 3-1, and then they broke it open there in the 8th inning where there was a blunder there. Yeah, you had the Ryan McMahon who misplayed the pop-up. I know that was all day. Andy Pajas missed the ball in the outfield. You had the kid Max Schulman also was clueless where a ball just dropped, which I believe that's what led the rally there in the 3rd inning. But then you also had the other play by Schulman in the right field corner where it led to a ground rule double, and that just opened the floodgates. And then the game last night was similar to the game there on Friday night where the Yankees took a 1-0 lead. Then Tommy Edman hits the home run there in the 8th inning to tie it at 1. Jazz Chisholm then gets the go-ahead home run in the 8th, and then the Dodgers go quietly in the 9th, and the Yankees salvage the final game of that series where the Dodgers now go to Philadelphia. They're already in Philly before they come back to New York to play the Mets next weekend. So the Dodgers had a very successful weekend here in the Bronx. Now, the other series I wanted to talk about here quickly. Now, I don't want to talk about that. There was another I want to get into. No, it's certainly not the Mets series, that's for sure. Although they did take 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia, and Nolan McLean had 10 strikeouts. All right, kudos. The other series, yeah, I know the Tigers. I mean, they've been, listen, I get it that yesterday they ended up losing, but the Tigers trying to get themselves back to my guy, J-Rod. What's the other series I wanted to get into? There's another thing I wanted to talk about. It's eluding me right now. It'll come to me. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, we're talking about the Red Sox. Yeah. Oh, the other series is this one. All right, got it. So before the All-Star break, in fact, it was 2 Thursdays ago. And remember, I talked about 2 teams that were going into that final weekend of the All-Star break with, I thought, were huge. Teams that looked like they were going in different directions. First one was the Yankees, where, remember, they salvaged the final game in Tampa before going to Washington, and they swept the Nationals to where they went into the All-Star break feeling good about themselves because no harm, no foul. They didn't lose or gain ground on the Rays, considering they split the 4 games down in Tampa. And they sweep the Nationals, so good for them. And we saw what happened this past weekend. But also going into that weekend was the Marlins after they swept the Mariners, and then they had the Guardians come in to Lone Depot Park, and they swept them. Well, now you got to wonder whether or not the Marlins are going to be around. I don't want to say any longer because they're still in the mix, but now you have to wonder whether or not the sky's going to start falling there in South Florida. They go to Milwaukee, obviously tough team, one of the top teams in the National League, and what happens? They get swept in the Cream City to the point where now they've lost 6 in a row, and where they stand in the wild card right now certainly wasn't as good as they did even going into the series against the Brewers, and obviously the weekend before where they were flying high and they were actually tied with the Phillies in the National League East. But right now, I'd be a little bit concerned. I'd have to be. It's a young team with a young manager, second year there with Clayton McCullough, and he's going to have to somehow, some way rally the troops to the point where, guys, I understand we've hit a little bit of abutment. They had that tremendous stretch where I believe they won 15 of 20 heading into that Guardian series, and now they've lost 6 in a row, and they've been upended here. You have to think, young team, fragile psyche, trying to find their way here as they are 2 weeks away from the trade deadline. Whether or not they're going to make a move, we'll have to wait and see. But with the way that the National League wildcard is shaping up, it is a flat-footed 3-way tie, although the Cardinals right now have that final spot from a standpoint. They're 51 and 47. Marlins and Pirates all tied with the same winning percentage, but they're 52 and 48. So think about it. Marlins and Pirates have played 100 games, and the Cardinals have played 98. So they have 2 games in hand. And then you want to throw in the Diamondbacks, who are 51 and 48, a half game back. That right now is looking like it's going to be a battle royale. Now, granted, we still got 2 months and about 10 days left of the baseball season, which is kind of hard to fathom. I mean, that's how fast the time is flying. But the Marlins I'd be a little bit concerned about here. And obviously I have a slight interest in them, or vested interest, considering with the over-under totals. And right now they've been stuck at 52 here for over a week. Well over a week when you think about it, 10, 11 days. And they got to get to 72 and a half or above that. They got to get to 73. So I need 21 more wins for them because right now my over-unders are not looking too good. So I'm going to need for them to bail me out to be a mediocre 500. So we'll wait and see. But let's see what the Marlins do. And I believe that their next destination is going to be a tough chore if I'm not mistaken. I'll get to the schedule momentarily. But that's what you have with the baseball over the weekend, at least of the notables. Because other than that, as I take a look here, bring up the standings, we know that the Yankees, even after losing 2 out of 3, but with the Rays getting swept, they did gain a game and a half on them. No, they actually gained, let me think about that. Yeah, they gained a game yesterday and a half game. They gained a game and a half on them, 2 in the loss. So let's see where they stack up. And the Rays have a game in hand on the Yankees. So we'll keep that in mind, as the Rays have now lost 5 in a row, dating back to losing to Seattle there the final day before the All-Star break. Red Sox, Orioles. I won't even get to the Orioles. They're 8 back. Red Sox we've talked about. White Sox have a game over the Guardians with 2 in the loss, 4 over the Twins. You want to throw in the Tigers there, 6.5. Okay, fine. Texas, a half game, ahead of the Mariners, 4 over the Astros. And the Astros had a lost weekend against the Orioles, and that's why the Orioles have crept up a little bit in the division as well, considering with the Rays' demise as of late. Then you have the Braves still holding pat on that 3-game lead, although 4 in the loss over the Phillies. It's now 6 and 7 in the loss over the Marlins. I'm not going to include Washington right now. The Brewers with a 6-game lead over the Cubs. Forget about the NL West. That is a lock, as we've talked about time after time. And then with the wild card, we already know what's happening in both leagues. I pretty much broke it down. Yankees comfortable with a 4.5-game lead over the Guardians. Guardians a game over the Red Sox. And we talked about the Mariners a game back. Baltimore 2 back, as well as the Twins. Astros 4.5, as well as the Blue Jays and Tigers. Forget about the Athletics. I'm not going to go that far. And then the National League, the Cubs 4.5 over that final spot with the Cardinals. As I mentioned, Cardinals, Marlins, Pirates, all tied at the present moment. Arizona, a half game behind them. Nats 2 back, Padres 2.5, then the Reds 6 back. I'm not even going to include the Reds at this point. So that is your wild card picture. And I know he sadly had a passing, the former reliever of the Blue Jays, who was part of that staff when they won the back-to-back in 92-93. Dwayne Ward passed away. I don't know what the cause of his death was. 62 years of age. I mean, geez. Way, way, way too young. Yeah, right now it says declined further comment on the circumstances of Ward's death. Don't know. Don't know if he had been ill or if it was sudden. But nevertheless, a terrible story. Thoughts, prayers, condolences go out to the Ward family, the Blue Jays, and Major League Baseball. And, yeah, that'll do it for what's happening in baseball. Let me see if there's anything else. Let's see. Yeah, Ohtani's not going to pitch. He had that knee injury he suffered before the 4th of July. Right now, his timetable to return on the mound, it's indefinite. You saw him in the lineup throughout the weekend there at Yankee Stadium, so you know he will DH. But as far as him towing the rubber, that's not going to happen. Let's see. Yeah, other than that, that's it. Yeah, I know Drake Baldwin's back at back-to-back home runs in the Braves win. And, yeah, that's what you have. Now, as far as the schedule for the early part of the week, Minnesota at Cleveland, LA at Philadelphia, as you know, that's going to be a good series. Emmett Sheehan was supposed to pitch Saturday because of the rain out. They moved him up, and they pitched a bullpen game last night against Christopher Sanchez. Pirates at the Yankees. You're not going to see Paul Skeens. He pitched yesterday, 7 innings, beat the Guardians. Tampa at Toronto. Let's see if Tampa could snap that losing streak. Baltimore and Boston, very good series, considering that the Red Sox and what they've done and the Orioles trying to get themselves back in the mix. San Diego at Atlanta. Wait, how far is San Diego back in the wild card? I didn't even include them, right? I think it's 6.5 pack. Let me take a look at that real quick. San Diego. And I know the big question is Mason Miller, right? No, San Diego's 2.5 pack. My bad. Yeah, I should have known better. If San Diego, that's another thing. Mason Miller, a lot of people think that he could be on a lot of people's radar, especially with the trade deadline forthcoming. If the Padres are going to trade Mason Miller, who I believe is not a free agent until 2029, what are we doing? And I know they have new ownership. So that's scary because I don't know. And ownership, I believe they're from the San Diego area. And you would think, oh, because I'm from San Diego, hey, we're going to do whatever it takes. The owner of the Orioles is from the Baltimore area. How have they done since he's been the head honcho there? I wouldn't trust it. But if they trade, I don't care if they trade him to the Yankees. So the Yankees are thinking, oh, they need to get a closer, move David Bednar into the 8th inning slot to get Mason Miller. Well, I got news for you. If I'm the GM of the Padres, I'm asking you for Cam Schlittler. Well, they'll hang up the phone. So you can forget about that. I would ask for him. Well, that means that you don't really want him. All right, if it's not going to be Cam Schlittler, I know there's Carlos Lagrange in the minor leagues. I want him. I want Dominguez. I want Spencer Jones and George Lombard. Give me those guys. Let's start there. Dominguez. Oh, I don't know if he's going to be a big-time player anyway. Spencer Jones. Lagrange. And who's the other guy I mentioned? Oh, George Lombard. I want those guys. And I'd still ask for more. Mason Miller still has 3 more years left. Come on. What do you think? You're going to trade Trent Grisham and, I don't know, whomever? Stop. Or Anthony Volpe is going to go to San Diego. They already got 1 million shortstops. Xander Bogaerts. I know Tatis originally a shortstop, but he's bounced all over the place. I believe he's at second base now. Come on. So I don't want to hear it. The Padres better not even think about trading him. And even if they get a king's ransom, I can understand. Anything less than that, there's no way I trade him. Listen, I'm not making Mason Miller out to be Mariano, but come on, that guy is lights out. Mets are in Milwaukee. Chicago at Texas, that's the White Sox. Detroit at Wrigley. Miami's at Houston. Houston been stumbling, bumbling, fumbling. Washington, Colorado, Cincinnati, Seattle, St. Louis at the Anaheim Angels, Athletics at Arizona. So that is your baseball early week. And, come Thursday, it's going to be all about baseball, knowing that a lot of these sports have exited stage right. All right, Chop, and then what do you got here? I'm a Mets fan. Let it out. McClain, great game. 2 out of 3 from the Sillies. No, of course. Seriously, time flies when your team stinks. Why are you rooting for the Marlins fantasy? No, the only reason why I'm rooting for the Marlins, and I got no money on them, because one thing about me, Chosen, I am not a gambler. I do not gamble. It's not my thing. Never have been a gambler. Never. I mean, listen, have I done Super Bowl boxes in the past? And many moons ago, do the picks for the week with the point spread. I used to do that at my old job many moons ago. But yeah, I am not a guy that gambles at all. I can't remember the last time. As a matter of fact, I can't remember the last time I wagered. Was the Super Bowl 42, where I put, I think it was top of my head. Was it 10? 20? I forgot how much the boxes were. But it was Giants Patriots, and I had Patriots 7, Giants 3. And not only did I win halftime, but I won the third quarter, and I won $500. It's the last time I gambled. So I'm not a gambler. But the only reason why I picked the Marlins is because at the beginning of the year when I do my over-under win totals, and I do that for all the sports. So NFL, you're going to get my over-unders. NBA over-unders. NHL over-under point totals. And then for baseball, and I'll even share my over-unders, which are brutal. But just to give you an idea, Chosen, of what I'm referring to. My over-unders for the year, I got the Red Sox. It's still a stretch, but hey, you never know. 87.5. Tigers 85.5. Marlins was 72.5. So that's why I have this interest in them. But no, not fantasy. And I didn't even bet these. This is just for fun, just for play. As I've said time after time after time, if you took my over-unders and you bet them, and if you win them, I'm not expecting any money. And if you lose, don't expect to come knocking on my door to say, hey, Jay Reels, I've lost my shirt taking your over-unders. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. My unders, San Francisco 89.5, Houston 86.5, and Colorado 54.5. My first two unders are good. Colorado, they're going to get past 54.5. So that's why I got to pick the Marlins, unless the Red Sox continue to play on fire, and then that means I'll win that one. But that'd be great. Maybe 4-2, which is okay. You want to go 5-1, or dare I even say 6-0. But those are my over-unders, just so you get an idea of that. All right, and lastly, let me tee it up as I talk about the final golf major of the year, that being the Open Championship, which was in Southport, England, there at Royal Birkdale. And I'm going to be real with you guys. I didn't follow a lot of it on Saturday. I mean, I followed the top of the leaderboard there, and the leaderboard, let's face it, it wasn't sexy. Not to say that every tournament has to have Bryson DeChambeau, which I'll get to him in a minute, or Scotty Scheffler, which he was close, but still not close enough, or Rory McIlroy, who obviously plays well at the Masters, but the other tournaments, not so good, and I'll talk about Rory in a little bit as well. But you didn't really have a juicy leaderboard. Yes, Sam Burns, who was at the top of a couple of these majors here in 2026, but was unable to follow through. Then you had Cameron Young, who also played well. Now, again, yesterday I was in and out because your boy was exhausted between Friday night going out to Yankee Stadium, not getting a lot of sleep, getting up early Saturday, going down to the Javits Center at the Fanatics Fan Fest all day. And I'll get to that at the back end of the podcast. I'll share that with you. And I got it all chronicled on video. So trust me, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It'll be all on the channel once. Fanatics probably tomorrow, because I got to get that up soon. The other stuff, Yankee Stadium, I'll get to as well. Probably by the end of the week. But yesterday, Saturday I was out all day, so I didn't really follow it. And then yesterday I slept. For me, this is late. I was in bed till after 12. No, that's a lie. It's about 11:30. Your boy was just flat out gassed, nothing in the tank. And even though I was up from about 10:40 on, but I was just laying in bed, I said, I just need my body to take a blow as much as I wanted to get into watching the golf or get into it. So I bring this all up because I don't know if Cam Young on any of the holes, and I started to do a little bit of research and things of that nature, but here's what you need to know about yesterday. Ryan Fox, a guy who was not a household name from New Zealand, who obviously had been in the mix, but on the 18th hole, knowing that he was ready to go ahead in what we thought in all likelihood was going to be a playoff. But what he did was his approach on 18, not only that, phenomenal, but the birdie putt, I believe from about 11 feet, if he would have parred, he would have tied Cameron Young and would have had a face-off today, or it would have had a playoff today. But because of his shot, those two shots that turned it all around for him, and for him to get that birdie putt, which I'm sure he had to be shaking in his boots on his approach, knowing that he had to make the perfect shot and then sink the perfect putt to avoid that playoff. And for Fox to do that, to capture his first ever Grand Slam tournament, I mean, you just tip your cap. Now, again, I don't know the permutations leading up to that. I don't know if Cam Young, let's say, bogeyed on 16 or even bogeyed on 17 or 18. And again, hand raise high in the air, bad job. The Open, I didn't really follow that much. I know the weather was great. It wasn't blustery. It wasn't rainy. You didn't have sideways wind. You didn't have the windbreakers flying all over the place. None of that, which was great. But because of how the weekend broke for me, I wasn't on top of it. So you want to say bad job, Jay Reels? Come on. It's the last golf major of the year. You should have been all over it, whatever. Now, I understand the Open Championship. When you look at the pecking order, it's the Masters. They're the Super Bowl. Now, the Open should be first. I mean, they've only played the 154th Open. I mean, that's golf, especially when you think of St. Andrews. But you could argue whether or not the U.S. Open and, well, hang on. The U.S. Open, I hope I didn't lose you there. Maybe for a split second, because I know my laptop just went out. Man, how do you do it? Loving sports like you and not gambling, it's crazy. I play everything. All right, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, Chosen, so I'll get back to that. But when it comes to the tournaments, you could argue whether or not that the Open Championship should be second. Maybe it's 2 and U.S. Open is 2A. The PGA is at the bottom. Sorry. And think about it. The PGA should be being played next month. We all know it was played in May. So now this is why the golf season is over. Well, at least with tennis, you have the deal regarding the U.S. Open of tennis late August into September, where at least you have that to chew on when it comes to at least watching another sport. Where golf, that's it. No Ryder Cup. You don't get to you can watch any of these other tournaments, which is fine, but they're not going to have the panache. They're not going to have the pizzazz. They're not going to have just the overall fervor that you'd have for watching the 4 majors. That's all there is to it. As Adita Abraham throwing up peace signs and other stuff. Match fixing. All right. But what can you tell you? Listen, I can't say whether or not it was thrilling toward the end. I get it that Cam Young was already in the clubhouse at that time. Remember, Sam Burns was teed off with Ryan Fox there throughout the course of the afternoon. And Burns, who played well, but obviously didn't play well enough. And I'm sure he's going to be lamenting the fact that whether here, and I believe he was in the mix with the U.S. Open and as well as the PGA. And when you come up short in these major tournaments, it's going to stick to your ribs. And for Burns, I'm sure he's feeling that way right now as I speak. But when it comes to some of the other guys, whether Scotty Scheffler, who I know he scuffled and played well, but was just unable to have that stretch to where he could just dominate and get himself near the top. Now, he finished 3 strokes behind Ryan Fox. So was he within striking distance? Yes, but didn't do enough. And Rory McIlroy, he said that now he's going to celebrate his Masters, which I found a little bit strange considering that it was more than 3 months ago, but I get it. When you're in the machine, when you go from Masters to another tournament and maybe another tournament after that, and then you have the PGA, and then you're going to play another tournament or 2, and then the U.S. Open, and then you played the Scottish Open, which you did prior to the Open Championship, and then you're back in the grind there, where he said that he's just going to exhale. He's going to enjoy the Masters win. I guess he wasn't able to do so after, the second weekend of April. So now he'll put his feet up. I'm sure he'll take a little time off. I would think he's going to get back on the tour and maybe play a couple of other tournaments before we say sayonara. And there's still some tournaments to be played here. It's not as if when I say the golf season, it's over. It's not over. The golf season, in my eyes, it's over when it comes to majors because that's what we watch. Is anybody watching the Valero Open or anybody watching, I don't know, Bay Hill Pass, Jack Nicklaus, or the Arnold Palmer Invitational? No. You follow, you watch, okay, but to me, it's not on anybody's radar until you get to the majors. And that's why, to me, the majors need to be covered. They need to be massaged. They need to be critiqued. And I know by me saying that, it's contradictory because I hadn't been on top of it. And I'm not even going to blame the time difference. That's an excuse. Nonsense. But again, Friday they played early. I was all over it. Saturday, I was up and at it early. I was taking a look at the leaderboards. But again, when I'm at Fanatics Fest from 10 a.m. till about 5:30, and then I put up a live on the YouTube, I'm not thinking about the U.S. Open, the Open Championship. And then yesterday, I slept in, got up, and then we went to my in-laws afterwards. So it wasn't until about, right before the start of the World Cup when I realized or saw, wait, look who won the Open Championship. So, you want to get on top of me for that? You can. Hand raise high in the air. But when it comes to these tournaments, I'm all over it. I follow, I watch, etc. But I hope, to use a golf term, you could give me a mulligan and say, all right, Jay Reels, we'll let this one slide. But I can't say whether or not it was thrilling. Obviously, it was a thrilling 18 because we could have seen an opportunity to have a potential playoff. But because we didn't see that, and yes, maybe that final hole was riveting, but I'm not going to sit here and critique whether or not the final round was that and then some, or did capture a lot of America's imagination or the golf fans' imagination. I don't know. I can't say that. But I can say that Ryan Fox did win for the first time and did it in very dramatic fashion. What is this? Abraham doesn't have the power used to make it. Yeah, I don't know what Abraham's trying to put across here, and I'll get some more of the comments here. Bio with the Dodgers exposing the Yankees. They think they could do everything. Yeah, I don't know about the Yankees. I tell you. I do not know. Oh, you sent me an email? Oh, look at that. All right, Waffle Line. I'm going to get back to that comment later. Oh, you know what? I'm going to look at that right now. Hold on. I know don't want to get too far removed, but let me see, because I didn't check my email either. Let me make sure. Oh, there you go. I see you. All right. Oh, is that right? Freddie Peralta bobblehead? Oh, jeez. Oh, that's funny. I got it in mind. Hang tight there, Waffle Iron. As a matter of fact, I didn't think it was Saturday. All right, I don't want to get too caught up here. I'll contact you. I'll follow up with you. It sounds good, but I think Saturday, I'll get back to you. I'll just leave it at that. Hold on a second. Let me get back to my screen here because I'm all over the map. And I appreciate that, Waffle Iron. Big time. I will follow up. What is this? Press like for this man putting all around sports for all. Chosen, I appreciate you. And listen, before I get to my weekend and how that all unfolded, is there anything else in sports to talk about? And I want to talk about what you just said there too, Chosen, because it's important. Let's see. Anything happened here in the last hour or so? Oh, yeah, let's talk about this from our guy J-Rod, if he's still with us. So Ward Manuel is going to step down at the end of the calendar year, the AD of Michigan. And we know what has transpired there. You want to go back to when Jim Harbaugh was there with the whole cheating scandal? All right, you can. You want to talk about even what happened there with Sharon Moore getting suspended there for a couple of games? Okay, fine. Now, with everything that happened with Sharon Moore at the end of the year, getting involved with one of the team reps and how that all transpired, very ugly, mental health, etc. Obviously a terrible optic. I'm sorry. This guy should have stepped down immediately, if not sooner. End of story. I don't know why he's choosing to exit at the end of the calendar year, which obviously is after the football season. And let's say Michigan, who knows, they make it to the playoff and they go into January. What's he going to do? I mean, he just should have walked away now. I mean, that was an ugly scene there with Moore and the girl and him stalking her and saying all these different things. Meanwhile, the guy's married and has kids. I mean, come on. And I understand it's not Ward Manuel's fault. It's not as if he's attached to Sharon Moore's hip, but come on. You're the AD there. If this guy was off the rails and you had no clue about it, I could get it. I understand that. But at the same time, it's on your watch. And therefore, you just say, salute. I'm sorry for what had happened here. I think the administration needs a fresh face. Let's start over. And that's it. But he's going to stay to the end of the calendar year. Yeah, the school also released a summary of an independent investigation into the culture of the scandal-plagued athletic department, which concluded issues they were not widespread. Yeah, not good. Yeah, I don't know why he stood there. And I understand he was, on the Michigan team many years ago, Bo Schembechler. I get it, but come on. Let me see. Anything else? NBA, I know for those who are interested, the Summer League. Oh, he had the one trade. That's right. Let me get to that real quick. Lou Dort, the now former Oklahoma City Thunder, gets shipped to the Hawks. Zachary Richardson, I think I pronounced that right, the former number one pick overall, goes to the Mavericks. And then the Mavericks, I believe they get, let's see, let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, Lou Dort goes to the Hawks. Richardson goes to the Mavs. And Ryan Nembhard goes to Atlanta. And now the reason why they did that is because they had to fall under the second apron. Remember, they traded Aaron Wiggins. They also traded Isaiah Joe, very good role player, both two good role players. So now you had their depth had to get cut into, as well as Dort, who obviously is a very good defensive player. So how OKC will manage that will be interesting because, again, they had to re-up with their players, including Isaiah Hartenstein this past offseason. We know about SGA, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, who all signed max extensions after last season, after they won a championship. And then you have Alex Caruso still there, of course, Hartenstein. But now a lot of their depth is extracted. So how they're going to manage that is going to be interesting. Because once that happens, I mean, look what happened to the Celtics. You know, when they had to trade Drew Holiday, they had to trade Kristaps Porzingis. And even though no Jason Tatum, we know how competitive they were, et cetera. But obviously, when you have, and Al Horford, they let go. When you have to have a chunk of your team, and especially not only good players, but excellent role players, you're going to take a big hit, especially with this NBA now, with the second apron. And if you're going to have players that are going to make in upwards of 50 to 60, or even in SGA's case, $70 million, what's left is scraps. So to me, that's a big loss. That's a big loss for the Thunder. We'll have to wait and see as we get deeper into this offseason and obviously into next season. And I don't think a lot of the wheeling and dealing, I think it's going to be done unless you're just going to get something that's going to come down the pike out of a surprise. And the same could be said even for the NHL for that matter. Let me see real quick. NHL, what happened here? Yeah, I know Connor Bedard, he signed 5 years, $75 million. And the Flyers also extended Jamie Drysdale. And, Connor McMichael and the Blues. Remember, they got him for the trade from the Capitals. But, yeah, that's pretty much what we got here, people. That is sports in a big, giant nutshell. Now, let me get to a couple other things here. Larry, was it Argentina? Well, hey, they didn't cheat this game yesterday. They did not. My bad saying what's so? Chosen. A lot of love in the room. I love it. Keep it coming. I'll get to your question in a second, Val, and I'll get to the comments momentarily. I want to get to the weekend real quick before I sign off. Or before I get to your comments and then sign off. So Friday night, I went out to Yankee Stadium to do a little personal research or market research. I don't know. I guess the terminology would be. But as I try to get cute here with my vernacular. With the Dodgers in town, and I knew there were going to be a ton of Dodger fans flocking to 161st and River Avenue in the Bronx, I said, I got to get out there. I got to get as many interviews as I can. I know the questions, they're softball-type questions. What I mean by softball, I'll give you a little taste. If you didn't watch the live, I did a live where I actually interviewed people, and I'm holding my camera that I've attached to a tripod as well as my phone. So definitely, if you want to go check back, you'll have a gas. There was actually one guy I ran down because of what he had on his shirt. It was similar to the Patriot fan wearing a graphic of the score late in the third quarter of Super Bowl, 53, I believe? Maybe it's 51. Yeah, I think that's 51. Between the Falcons and Patriots, where it was 28-3 late in the third quarter. Well, I saw a Dodger fan wear a shirt where it had Yankees 5, Dodgers nothing, top of the fifth, 2 out. And we know what happened after that point. If Ray Condi, if you're on here, my apologies. But, yeah, you definitely got to check that out. And not only that, but I'll have my work cut out for myself because I have to edit all this stuff. I'm hoping to put the first chunk of interviews there on the channel Friday. So by Thursday's podcast, I'll have a better idea as to where I'm at with that. But I want to put that up over the next few Fridays. So I got a lot of content there. And Friday was fun. Dodger fans were great. I met Dodger fans literally not only from LA, Northern California, North Carolina, Omaha, Nebraska, Montana, people that come out from all over. And I was ecstatic. I loved it. And the Dodger fans were great. They were gracious. Of course, there were a few that declined. I approached them and said, hey, may I ask you a few sports questions about sports questions and about the Dodgers for my channel? A couple passed. That's fine. But a lot of them agreed. And it was a tremendous, I believe it was about an hour and a half I was out there. And then I did the live stream on the channel. So definitely check that out. And then Saturday, this is where whatever gas I had left in the tank, Friday night and Saturday, it was all emptied Saturday. So every year, there's the third year in a row they've done the Fanatics Fan Fest in New York, which is the Javits Center on the west side of Manhattan. First time me going, and I scored a ticket the night before, and it was almost sold out too, which would have been bad. But I ended up going. What it is, it's a sports convention for the fan. I mean, that's all it is. You walk in, and you'll see that on the live stream as I was leaving the Javits Center. But on my camera, I took a ton of footage, and I got to chop that up. I can't even say hope. I'm going to have to work fast, furious, and feverishly to get this up by, let's say, 3 p.m. tomorrow. I want to get it up by noon, but because I got so much to filter and so much to sort through that it's going to be tricky. But you walk in, they had an ESPN booth. They had card collectors everywhere. I actually interviewed this one card collector that had the Honus Wagner card and I asked him a few questions. I had Gary Vaynerchuk, who I love. If you don't know who Gary V is, you definitely got to follow him on social media. The guy is tremendous. Gift of gab, businessman, huge Jet fan, loves the Knicks too. But he was literally feet for me. I got videotape of him, but I interviewed this other guy, and I wanted to just get 2 minutes with him to talk about the Jets in particular, Knicks as well, and also try to get some game from him when it comes to the podcast space. But, and these are the people who I saw. Now, I didn't interview them. That's hopefully next year where I could rub elbows, where I could interview some of these players and personalities, because when I got close, how can I say this? When I got close to these people, some of them were from afar, some of them close, I'll say within 5-10 feet. Karl Anthony Towns, Kevin Hart, Marcelo Hernandez from SNL, Jeremiah Love, Diana Taurasi, John Cena, Fabulous, the rapper. I didn't record him. I'm not a fan of his, so I wasn't going to fake the funk. He was literally this close to me. Victor Wembanyama. Now, Victor Wembanyama was a little bit distant. He wasn't that close to me. But Wemby, I saw Trae Young. Trying to think who else was within striking distance. AJ DeBonsa. The Kid Mero, who was tremendous. If you don't know who Kid Mero is, Deez Mero. I know they're maybe a little bit underground for those who don't know. He was, and I've been a fan of his for years, Bronx native. He was tremendous, gave me a shout out. I posted on my Instagram, if anybody's curious, on my J Reels account. Excuse me, I got also posted on my J Reels podcast account. Oh, excuse me, I got gas. But it was just tremendous. But you have to have your head on a swivel. And I get it that the place is so huge. It is so big. But there are a lot of areas where they have to have it sectioned off because they cannot have these athletes and personalities, celebrities, etc., just walk with the general public. They have an escort. They have security. And it's not their own personal security. It's security from the facility. And they have all these walkways where, yeah, you could walk through, but when they come through, they block them off, and it's just a throng of people, which I get it. I understand. But, yeah, it was a fantastic time. Would I go back? Absolutely. I'll talk more about that on the vlog. And I know I kind of tipped my hand with that, but I just wanted to share that with you. But there's a lot more to get into with that. And fingers crossed, I'll have it up on the channel tomorrow talking about the Fan Fest. All right, let me get to your comments. Let's see. I know, Val. Giants, terrible. J-Rod, my man, and Fishing Angel, if you're still here. Chosen, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. All right, all the hellos. Chopping it up. I got the fireworks out. I appreciate you. 100%. So happy that Spain won. I knew they're going to win. Go Spain. All right, Fishing Angel. I saw live Dodgers-Yankees missed one. The one yesterday. Well, I was one Saturday. J-Rod Bio. If I knew you had to keep your profile name for 14 days before you could change it, I would have never changed it. Oh. Yeah, because I know you've been back and forth, the cold trickle. But now J-Rod is back. And it's funny because when Cole first came onto the scene here and is an avid supporter, and I thank you at Fishing Angel. I remember calling you Cole, and then it was J-Rod, and it was like, oh, do I call you Jay? Do I call you Cole? And then it's been J-Rod. But then had this issue with his profile name, and now he's back to J-Rod. So, not that there was anything wrong with Cole. I could have called you Cole, you know that, but who cares? It's your show and you're excited. No, hey, man. It's our show. I understand it's my show, but hey, you guys are just as important, but I appreciate that, Chosen, without question. Actually, did watch the fight. You did. Good for you, J-Rod. What'd you think? Lost the series. Oh, I know. Not good, Val. Yes, exactly like getting a walk and a pitch homer. Yeah. Chosen on top of it. Ref save. Yeah, they just couldn't finish. Yeah, now that's the thing. How I looked at it is that, yeah, obviously got a little bit chippy there. I know what was it? Enzo Fernandez got red card. And then, yeah, but to me, Argentina had I don't want to say it had no shot, not until the end when they had a couple of chances, but Spain dictated that whole game. And again, thank God that Argentina didn't get the tie, they didn't get the tying goal. Because that would have been, that would have been the first thing I would have brought up today. And that's why, as you see in the title, why Spain saved the World Cup, because it spared us from going to penalty kicks. And to me, that just ruins it. And I get it, a billion soccer fans think otherwise, but no. Please. I gave you the examples earlier, and I don't know. Yeah. And let me see J-Rod's. Yeah, I totally agree. And he's probably going to get a buyout on top of that. Spain, baby, too tough to rig. The refs tried to cheat so hard for Messi. And I don't know, the main referee, I forgot, what country was he from? Because that, of course, could play a part in it, but, Argentina didn't make efforts getting shots. Spain, yeah, they did not do that. And that's why I thought Spain, with the way they played yesterday, they were the better team, deserved to win. And could you imagine if Argentina would have tied and would have won in the penalty kicks? Forget about it. As somebody said to me over Friday outside the Yankee Stadium, and I thought it was kind of cool, FIFA, the acronym, fixed it for Argentina. AC Tom, yes, I do remember you, of course. He probably does, yes. All good, AC Tom. So you're like a Spain repeat in 2030, huh, Waffle Iron? They're the host country. Well, them, Morocco and Portugal. But I would think the final, if I had to guess, is probably going to be in Spain. Where will it be, though, I wonder? Could I find that out now? Will it be in Barcelona? I mean, not that it matters, because I'm sure they'll find a way. Let's see. Yeah, to have a YouTube video. Inside all World Cup stadiums 2030. Spread across 3 continents. Yep. All right, hold on. The main competition is expected to be played across multiple cities and the primary host countries. Proposed venues include Spotify Camp Nou, Santiago Bernabeu in Spain. Newly planned Hassan II Stadium, Morocco. Oh, okay. Yeah, I would think. Hold on. FIFA 2030. Yeah, I guess I haven't decided where the final game will be. It's got to be in Spain. Oh, and in 2034, it's in Saudi Arabia. All right. So, Spain repeat. Hey, listen, would I be shocked? I guess it's too early to tell. But Waffle Iron, yeah. Why not? Let's see. That's why I rock with you. Why can't you have a limited substitution like that England game? One of Holiday had to come out. Yeah. Listen, just for the final. The final has to have unlimited substitution. End of story. I'm sorry. That game yesterday, if it went to penalty kicks, that would have been the first thing I've said. And it would have been an unpopular opinion to the rest of the globe. But you know what? And I hate to say it like this, but I would have had my chest puffed out and said, I don't care. I don't. That's not how a final of a World Cup should conclude. I do not care. I don't care if it was 0-0. I don't care if it was 10-10. Let those players decide it themselves, not on penalty kicks. Not. To me, that just would have ruined everything. And I don't care. I could argue that till I'm blue in the face. And a soccer fan could get in my face and be like, you don't know what you're talking about. No, I do know what I'm talking about. And I would say, oh, is the NFL decided on this? Oh, well, what do you expect? They're just going to collapse on the field? Well, hey, those guys are well conditioned. We're not talking about DHs that have beer bellies or even the NFL linemen. For all their girth, they still run 4.5 40s. No, I'm not. Listen, I don't care. Get in my ear all you want. In fact, Bio, I even concluded that, you know what, they should play until sudden death. And sudden death, that's it. When Spain scored that goal, and I get it, it's the extra time, that should be sudden death. Because you still set yourself up for Argentina to tie the game, and then you go to penalty kicks? Come on. And I know once upon a time they did have these sudden death, but then they brought it back. Please. Dang, I need to see how to say my name. AC Tom. Is it AC Tom? It's probably AC Tom. But I got you. It's no AC, it's Ace. Okay, so it's Ace. I appreciate that, Ace. I will not call you AC Tom anymore. That's a good one. Red Sox and Phillies firing their managers, turn their season around. The Mets are due for a run. Well, you can only hope so. Now to go to Milwaukee. Oh, the Mets. I don't know. The deck of cards, I could say. Like an ace, yes. No, that helps. No, I definitely got you. By the way, American. No, they did. And that's the thing. It certainly helped that the games were here on American soil and obviously the decent tie frames. You have to worry about it being overseas or in a far, far away place to where, oh, geez, they're 7-8 hours ahead. I got to get up this early. No. Now we'll see come 2030 how much I'll get into it, and I'll have to, considering it's a world event and everybody's wrapped up in it. But yeah. No, I agree with you 100% there, Chosen. America did excellent. I'm going to see Cedar Rafael on July 23rd. Oh, is that right? So wait, 23rd, that's what? What's today's date? The 20th. The 23rd is Thursday. Hold on a second. Looking at the schedule here, 23rd. Oh, they must be off that day, right? Because then the Red Sox, when they play Friday. Oh, that hosts Toronto. All right. Let me see. So you're going to see him on the 23rd, but where are you going to see him? I'm curious. They can have Weaver for their number one. Yeah. Yeah, Weaver's going to be gone. I would think a majority between their bullpen. Who knows? Maybe Luis Torrens. I'm sure the Yankees will probably come calling. 2 weeks, people. 2 weeks. Giants are sellers. Oh, yeah, they have to be. That's a typo. That's all right there, Val. So then Raphael is probably my most favorite friend. It's going to be fun. Well, how are you going to meet? I'm curious. That I have an off day. Do they family relative? I'm curious. They can't mark a semi and Louis. Oh, well, listen. Those guys, let's see if we're lucky to get anything back for those two. All right. I will definitely do that. I know I posted this up earlier, but I definitely will do that, Waffle Lion. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Yeah, I tell you. Between Boone blundering again on Friday, the sun being a factor in the game yesterday, and the game last night was just a crisp, well-played game where the Yankees obviously got the big home run there by Chisholm in the bottom of the 8th. But, I mean, listen, the Dodgers, and they're not even fully loaded. There's no Blake Snell. There's no Tyler Glasnow. There's no Edwin Diaz. I mean, Hey, Yamamoto is the king of New York. I can't disagree with you there. Because the Spankies, they could do everything. Yeah, of course. They do think they could do everything. All right. Power beat me to it. Yeah, Yankees. Let me think about that for a second. Yeah, I know. I didn't even make a mention about Judge, too. I should make a mention about him now. Yeah, I know the prognosis on Aaron Judge at this present moment is looking very, very grim. Based on Brian Cashman, or I believe even Aaron Boone, saying that he's okay, but not okay, hasn't been ramped up to baseball activities. They're going to have to reevaluate in a couple of weeks. I mean, who knows? And you can't rush him back. You rush him back, gets re-injured, thoracic outlet syndrome, which I understand he doesn't have this time around. But, yeah, I mean, it's just, you can't make it up. All right, Ace. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much, as always. Go back to the Chosen. Beat me to it. Now, listen, Judge is a major hit. I mean, goes without saying. Redfin let it out. McLean, great game to it. Yes, we are. Let me see, man. How do you do it? Love playing. No. Not gambling. We play everything. Yeah, I don't gamble. I don't know what to tell you there. Chosen. I do not. Yeah, all this Abraham the Mob, blah, blah, blah. Press for like this, man. All around sports. Again, much appreciated there, Chosen. J-Rob, what's up? My bad. Didn't see you saying hello. Yeah, Larry with his cheaters comment. Yeah, I'm not going to shed any tears when it comes to that scenario. Well, let's see if the dog's going to start barking. There's somebody outside the door. Yeah, it's okay, kids. LeBron James, where will he go? I think he's going to go to Golden State. I know I've kind of flip-flopped. I thought maybe Philly. And can LeBron come up with an answer this week, please? The decision was 2010. This isn't a decision 4.0. Just make your announcement. The World Cup is over. All that's left is baseball at the moment. It's a slow sports day. He should have already come out. If he hasn't done so already, watch, I'll look like a fool. That's it. Come out and say that I'll be back for 2025. Oh, excuse me, 2026, 27, 25. I'm a year behind. What's going on? So, yeah. So, that's what's happening there. Let me Now I'm getting an invitation here. What is this? All right, let me talk about this afterwards. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I just got news. Uh-oh. This just in as I'm looking at my email. Maybe I should save this. I'll save this. Yeah, because I got to look at the agreement. All right, I'm not going to tip my hand just yet, but I just got some good news that hopefully could lead to generating some income. No, it's not a sponsor. I won't say that. If it was, forget about it. I probably would have announced it, but even that, I probably wouldn't have because I got to review the document. Let me see first. I'll say this. It's an on-air host role. I'll just leave it at that. That I could probably start as soon as maybe next week. That doesn't mean the podcast is still going to be here. I'm not going to go anywhere. I promise you that. But I just got word now, and oh man, I'm ecstatic. I'll post it in a video, if not later today, tomorrow. And yeah, I see this invitation from my wife, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, wait. And then I see this other thing from the guy that I spoke to the other day, and oh, all right. It's good news. Keep it coming. Now, if I can only get some sponsors for the pod that will say, hey, J Reels, we believe in you. We trust in you. Hey, here's X amount of dollars per month. As long as you post our product, as long as you do this, that, and you keep doing your thing. That's why I quit my job 2.5 years ago for this. Let's go. Come on. All right. Let me just pull this up real quick. Hold on. I know I'm all over the map here, people. My apologies because I wasn't expecting to see that. Wait, I wanted to come here. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Why is this going so slow? My apologies, people. Bear with me 1 second. All right, let's try this again. Yeah, LeBron. I know. Did I answer your question there, Val? I know I'm all over the place. I need a rewind button. That's what I need. I just lost my whole train of thought because now I'm jumping through all these tabs. Hold on. No, that's not it. Let's get this out of here. Yeah, so I think he's going to go to Golden State, though, Val. That's just my gut. I don't think he's going to Philly. He's not going to Miami. I mean, I'd be shocked. I did say, LeBron, could you come up with a decision now? Oh, maybe it's coming to me. Hold on. Come up with a decision. Why are you delaying? Yeah. I know there was something else I wanted to bring up, but I forgot. Hold on. All right. It'll come to me. My apologies, people. I went to my email for some reason, and I saw that. And, yeah, I guess that just totally blocked me out from what it is I guess I was trying to look up or trying to find. Yeah. All right. Let's get focused here. What do you got here, Chosen? OKC and eventually the Spurs. Be in trouble, not just saying this as a Knicks fan. Listen, what Brunson did, and I know Wembanyama, he signed that $252 million. He could have gotten 303. And listen, Wembanyama, he's just getting started. I mean, he could have taken 120 million. Yeah, that guy, he's going to be the first $100 million man. without question. And that's $100 million a year. I'm not talking about a contract. Val says Cleveland. Listen, I wouldn't be shocked. I just don't know if that's a good fit, though. The novice. And also Zip. Good to see you both here. I know you posted these 19 minutes ago. I hope you're still with me. I have to roll with you next year to Fan Fest. We're still recovering from Hova weekend. Yeah. No, I didn't realize you went to back-to-back. Good for you, man. No, good stuff. Yeah, no, it was great. 51 days to the NFL season begins. 2.5 weeks to preseason. Let's go. The novice is ready. Is it really 51 days? Oh, my God. Wait a minute. The season starts when? The 9th, right? No. Hold on. Yeah, it starts the 9th. Holy crap, that's right. Because today's the 20th, so it's 11. 31 is 40. Oh, 51 days. Well, you really want to put it in perspective. Let me think. Does the NFL season begin 6 weeks from Wednesday? Hold on. No. 7 weeks. That's 49 days. Hello. Do the math, J Reels. 7 weeks to the NFL season. Oh, I am not. Oh. You know me, people. I don't want to keep hammering that nail. Chosen. Yeah, Spain won, but Argentina looked asleep. If they cheated for Messi. Yeah, thankfully they didn't come to that. No, I think, they looked asleep. I think Spain lulled them to sleep. To me, Spain, they remind me of, I kind of hate to put it in this term, but they were like the Devils of the mid-90s with the neutral zone trap. I mean, Argentina did nothing in the game offensively. Other than, like I mentioned, 4 minutes in, where the goalkeeper had to come out, and then that late flurry. From the 4-minute mark to about the 100 and whatever, 10, 12th minute, it might as well have me, the novice, J-Rod, Chosen, Waffle Iron, Bio, Val. It might as well have us out there. It's either in Spain or, hasn't been picked yet. I would think it'd be Spain, no? I'd have at least 3 years. I was going to say 4 years. They have 3 years to figure that out. Giants Royals. Yeah, certainly a far cry from the World Series back in 2014. Yes. If I didn't mention that, sorry, Val. Yeah, San Francisco is in Kansas City. Yes. And then 1:10 a.m. Oh, they got an afternoon game there. Typo. That's all right. Nancy. Cheers. Welcome. I'm sure she was in and out, but I appreciate her. Let me catch up on your comments here. They should have an America Cup with all the teams. You know what? That would be a good idea. And they would do that in the second year. So 2 years from now, they would have that. Why not? Have both North and South America. I mean, that's a slam dunk. Now, I don't know contractually with these players. I'm sure they can work it out. Where if they're playing overseas and the Premier League and all the leagues, I can't even tell you, Euro leagues, etc. If they're able to, let's say if they had a tournament every 4 years, but it's right in the middle of the World Cups, it's where you'd have, U.S., Canada, Mexico, obviously Brazil, Colombia, Panama, whomever else, Argentina. Hey, please, that would be fantastic. But as I said a couple of weeks ago, the men's, they need a big-time player, and they don't have it. That was sarcasm because they're me. Oh, all right. All right, Donavis, I got you. My bad. Yes, I that's how I see it. Imagine the NFL being hijacked by one player's decision to play like LeBron. It's inconceivable. Yeah. I know you're being sarcastic with that too, right, Waffle Iron? I mean, come on, Aaron Rodgers? Tom Brady to a lesser degree? How about Brett Favre many moons ago? Oh, geez. Yeah, it's only going to be a quarterback. I mean, you're not going to say, like, Aaron Donald's not moving the needle as far as, and no offense to Aaron Donald, Bio, I don't know if you're still with us, but, LeBron, stop. Just tell us where you're going, and that's it. Can't wait for the go away. You know, once he signs, and I'll talk about it, and then that's it. But I think the game, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of players that are not going to miss him. I know I will once he hangs it up. WJY New York Radio. Hey! No, that's not the case, Waffle Iron. It's a little bit there. It's not a radio on air deal. I'll share with you. Well, I'll share with everybody, but I'll put it in the video. I'll pray for you in this news. You got Jay and time and numbers game. Keep going. And one day you'll look up with 50,000, 100,000 subs, merch, all of it. You're locked in. Prayers. Oh, man. Chosen from your lips to the podcast, sports podcast, broadcasting, what gods, you name it. Hey, man, as I said before, and I say a million times, and I always point to the vein here because it's in the blood and the DNA. And I'm not here to cheat anybody. You know, just like I said with the golf. I didn't watch the golf yesterday. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, nope. I'll tell you about it. And I know the final hole, hey, obviously was riveting, but thanks, Chosen. I appreciate that. I really do. And the news I got, let me put it this way. It's a building block. It's another, all these bricks that I've been stacking, it's another brick, but this one it's even, maybe it's a golden, maybe gold's too strong. What the hell? It's a golden brick. So, yeah, I just got to read the agreement. I got to do all that. And until it's official, until I sign it and whatever, then I'll talk about it. So, my email, thejreelspodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up, anybody. Questions, comments, suggestions, you name it. You got a guest I want to have on? Yeah, you did answer my question, J Reels. Oh, with LeBron? I appreciate that. Get it over with, Warriors. Yeah. ESPN finally called. Hey, imagine that. No, I want to go up against him, but I want to. It's got to be on my terms, though. Which they'll look at me and be like, oh, no, you're just a nobody. No. Nobody challenges Stephen A on there. And all that is, come on. We've talked about that a million times. AI Anatoly, do you really think it is scripted? What is scripted? The World Cup? My podcast? The podcast is definitely not scripted. Completely different. Weeping Wemby changed his contract differently. Yeah. Steelers will do it. I hope so. Yeah, talking with Steeler fans at the Fan Fest, they were actually, I don't know, they were optimistic. And not that I'm pessimistic, but I was like, to me, it's the offensive line. I've said it a million times. Oh, you got Valkyries and Mystics today? Post that up there for Val. If I was on that team, I'd be napping on the field 10 minutes in. No, I hear that. I hear that, Chosen. I'm asking you, do you really think it is scripted as football match? Oh, all right. And that's what I thought. Nah, I can't say that. You know, and that's one of the questions that I've asked in the past. And even when Yankee Stadium, I asked mostly Dodger fans, especially those who gamble. And there were a lot of people that I interviewed that they don't gamble, which is good for them. But, yeah, I'm not saying it's scripted. I don't think so. And I'm not trying to be naive. I know for 100% sure. But nah, when I watch a game, any game for that matter, even a boxing match, I'm going into it thinking that there's integrity intact. I'm not trying to preordain or go into it premeditated to think that, all right, let me wait and see what's going to happen here. No, I'm not going to do that. To me, if I'm going to do that, why watch sports? Why watch? I'll watch something else. So, yeah, have there been suspicious things over the years or whatever? Of course. You want to talk about Saints-Rams? There's your example. I get it. But even that call, I'm not going to say it was rigged. Because even then, the Saints still had a chance to win the game after that. But I get it, that if the pass interference was called, the game would have been over. I understand. 100%. Get it. But even then, I'm not going to look back at that game. Oh, it was rigged. No. These are Kansas City Giants. I know Chiefs play there too. Well, they play across the street in Arrowhead. They have in America. They do. I guess they do. I obviously I haven't paid attention. Well, Aaron Donald, unretire. If he does, yeah, I'll get to that comment, Anatoly, in a second. If he does, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, Anatoly, I appreciate it if you do so. Stephen Naismith. I'll get to that too, Chosen. If Aaron Donald unretires, he's probably going to pull a Michael Strahan, or maybe he'll go through a whole training camp. I don't know. But maybe he'll show up the last 2 weeks. You know he's not playing in the preseason. So, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Maybe Bio, if you're still on, anything on the Aaron Donald unretirement front? Oh, I see Bio's comment. I'm going to get to that in a second. Anatoly, yeah, football? Or NFL too? I don't listen. We can easily say what's rigged, what's not, what's suspicious, but I don't think that's scripted either. Yeah, I disagree with that. Chosen. Love the battle. Stephen A. Smith. Oh, man. Should I even get into this? I know I've shared this with everybody. I haven't shared this with you, Chosen. I know, obviously, you've hopped on board in the last few weeks. I'm going to say this in a tidy 30 seconds. The problem with Stephen A. Smith, I believe, from what I've seen, and I don't watch First Take. Periodically, I'll go on First Take Wednesdays because I love Christopher Mad Dog Russo. But the thing is, and I've seen the clips, YouTube, Instagram, etc. I just think that he says stuff just for clicks, for ratings. Does he really believe some of the things that he says? I don't think so. I have to say it. And off the top of my head, and again, I said there's 30 seconds. I probably got like 5 seconds left. Yeah, just some of the things he says is just, it's cringe. I hate to use a Gen Z term, but it's true. And it makes you think, did he really mean that? And that's where I lose all respect. And that's why if I sat across from him or we sat, it's like, I'm going to debate, but if you're going to regurgitate, and sometimes you regurgitate some of these things, I guess we all do to a certain extent, but with him, he just keeps saying over and over and over. We got that the first time. We don't need to hear it 16 times. I also saw Ken Cataboo at FanFest. I didn't see the backflip, though. I know. What is he doing? Yeah, he did a backflip where he said he's fine, but remember, he's coming off of a dislocated ankle, and I'm sure that the ownership group of the Giants were not happy. Yeah, I didn't see that. I got to look that up. Go one, Val. Val's on top of it. Pass interference call, game over, hit a nerve. I know, Donavis. Yeah, hit a nerve, and then they had the replay for pass interference, but what did they experiment that for 1 year, and they were gone. Yeah, that should be more of a judgment call, but that was awful. It was bad. Oh, here we go, Bio. He's currently practicing with the Rams. They just haven't announced it yet. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even hear that. So that's good info. Thank you, Bio. Appreciate that. Chosen. Yeah, I'm busy and on air many times a day. A couple of platforms I'll email. Oh, all right. Yeah, and I want to know what shows in your emails. Tell me which ones. I want to check them out. I really do. Yeah, very Gen Z of me. I know. And I am not Gen Z, as you know. Gen X, baby. Busy on air many times. Yeah, I want to know your show, man. Please. And that's the thing. If anybody could clue me in on some good podcasts, good shows, I would love to buy what pass interference. I love it. That's a good one. Val, I'll get you a comment. Yeah, I want to. And you know, you guys know me. I'll give props where props is due as far as a podcast. And even, I'm not to say they have to do all sports like I do. But even if they're talking NFL, they're being honest, they're being forthright, they have some integrity. authenticity. They're not like pounding their chest. I can't believe it. That nonsense. Because I'm all about it. Waffle Iron, I see you. Yeah, I'm all about it. I get it. You're going to have people that have personalities that whether they are loud or brash or okay, that's fine. But if your stuff is good and authentic, great. If it's not, if it's clickbait, which I say clickbait is trickbait, if it's all that, I'm not with that. Val B calling out Mark Sammons. Look at that. Who would have thought? Let's see. Hold on. Val, isn't Stephen A. Smith? Yes, he is. Again, I would love to get in a room talk Steelers. Love to. I want to know how he got to be a Steeler fan. Probably the same as me. Didn't root for the Jets or Giants. In the 70s, he rooted for the Steelers and stuck with them. But yeah, how bad was that fall? I didn't see it. Listen, that's what happens when you're young and you feel invincible and indestructible. I got you, Val. I do know you are not. Shout out to the Xers. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And hey, no offense to the Gen Zers and the millennials. Come on, come on. Even to Miles. And who's the other? I'm trying to think. Who's the other? There's another. Yeah, there's another follower or probably subscriber who I believe just turned 14, not Miles. But anyway, I know Miles. We haven't seen him in a while. He's 14. I don't care. You could be baby boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, Gen Zers, Gen Alpha. Doesn't matter. Come on, come on. Waffle Iron. I know. You guys go back and forth a lot. And then Hal Morris. He disappeared. He's probably around. Who knows? But we see so many things and prove that football match is scripted. You know what? Anatoly, I could give that to you for one match in particular. You want to say the Argentina-Egypt match? And listen, even then, you're up by 2 with 11 minutes to go. I understand not including the stoppage time. Win the game. Win the game. And he didn't do that. And I get it. They had the goal disallowed because of the foul. And then when Argentina got the go-ahead goal, there was a foul on the other end. I totally get it. And I wish it wasn't scripted in that regard, or if people are going to deem it being scripted. I'm not going to look at it that way. I mean, it's interesting, right? With the VAR, if you had it in 86, Argentina and England, the hand of God, would that have been a factor? Quite possibly. Not even possibly, probably. Your sports teams are tough. Most people aren't doing what you're doing. Speaking all things Nick took over the airwaves. No, I hear that. I guess that's a good thing. I guess that's a good thing that most people and listen, I'm not covering all sports just as a flex. I love all sports. Obviously, I have my strengths in the sports that I talk about. Like, for instance, World Cup, although I got into it, but please, you think I'm sitting here? Yeah, I can dissect matches while I watch them. But when it comes to the history of some of these matches, or even the World Cup for that matter, and yeah, I could tell you like who won or this, but yeah, I mean, listen, I could tell you what happened in the AFC Championship game in 1995, back of my hand. I could tell you what happened in Game 7, 2016 NBA Finals, back of my hand. I could talk about Game 7 Stanley Cup Final 1987, back of my hand. But yeah, there's some of these things. Like, could I tell you World Cup 2014? I could talk final. And even though I gave you finals, like I gave you World Series, whatever. But yeah. But I love doing it. Hey, And I'm not going to limit myself to just football, to just whatever. No, I'm talking about it all. Yeah, I would say that too. 100% Val. Jim Rome's on YouTube now, and he does a show like you. Okay, what he says, he feels, then people. Now, the good thing about Jim Rome is that obviously he's been a name. I'm trying to get my name out there. But yeah, to me, the independent route's the way to go. If I were to get on any of these shows, they're going to have to take me for me. End of story. So, for instance, this on-air hosting, which I'll reveal by tomorrow, or once it's official. How's that? Could be tonight, tomorrow, because I got to send the paperwork back, and then once they say to me, all right, here's your schedule, or whatever. So, once they get back to me, how's that? For all I know, they may not get back to me until Wednesday. But with that being said, so I'm going to have this on-air host deal. They're going to have to take me for what I am. Now, I'm not, you know me, I don't curse unless I really have to get my point across. So I'll keep it clean. But yeah, they're getting 100% unfiltered, highly opinionated content. There's no vanilla here. End of story. And Jim Rome, who's always been a guy who speaks his mind, and obviously he's been around a long time, and good for him that he's YouTube. I'm sure he's killing it like he always has been throughout the course of his career. But yeah, that's all I want. And if anybody wants to hire me, or anybody wants to, hey, we'll have you on First Take or whatever show, right? But this is what you're getting. That's it. Oh, you can't say this about the NFL because, you know, we're on the network with the NFL. You got to tame it down a little bit. All right, tame it down in what way? I understand, I can't kill the commissioner, and I don't mean that in a literal sense. But if I have to get on him for something, I got to get on him. Come on. What are we talking about? Just like if I was on, let's say, hey, I'm a huge Met fan. Yeah, we want you to be on SNY to be a part of Met coverage. Well, David Stearns, who, as you guys and gals know, I've destroyed. You think I'm going to go on there and sit on my hands and be like, well, David Stearns, we'll see what happens next year? I'm going to be like, no, he's here for the rest of the year. Next year to me, I get it. He needs to be gone. And the owner also. Anyway, I digress. Getting carried away here. No, Stephen A. is a Steelers or when the wind blows fan. Yeah. Yeah, and he's always with the Cowboys. I mean, and that's for ratings too. Like I hate to say this, picking on the Cowboys is low-hanging fruit. I mean, why? Pick on the Ravens, team in your division. He should have been trolling them the day after the Sunday night game, and I didn't watch, so I don't know. But he should have been doing that. But no, he wants to troll the Cowboys. Come on. I know the difference. Oh, I don't know the difference after X was over. Over it all the same. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I know what you're referring to, Chosen. I know I'm kind of crazy. Ooh, the novice has a very good question I'm going to answer in a minute. Cam Scatterboo, didn't he see how bad the fall was on X? Nah, I got to watch that. All right. Do I watch Nightcap or Speakeasy? Nightcap every now and again. I like Chad Johnson better than Shannon Sharp. Shannon, listen. I understand he has a tremendous platform, and you can't knock his, what he's done in this space. I get it with Skip, and he screwed up the First Take deal. I mean, come on. But that's more personal. I'm not going to get into that. I haven't really watched it closely because, and I know he loves LeBron. I know he's a Laker fan, whatever. But to me, the thing is that it just doesn't resonate with me. There are not a lot of players that have podcasts. Like I've seen The Pivot. I've seen a few of theirs, and I like them. I know Fred Taylor, and I love Fred Taylor. He was a great player. Channing is more of like he's not the mouthpiece, but he's like I don't want to call him a clown. He's not a clown, but he's more like the jovial, hey, says crazy things. And I get it. He's more the personality there. Ryan Clark, who I know said stupid things on ESPN. But yeah, I don't know. And it's funny, you said speakeasy. I don't even know what speakeasy is. I'm about to type that up. I know Mark Salmons wouldn't like that. Shout out to Mark. Who's on this? Oh, Emmanuel Acho. Yeah, I never seen this. Yeah, and Sean McCoy says some crazy thing. Not crazy. I take that back. I should know about this. I know it's maybe a bad job by me, but I guess they haven't resonated that much. I know Emmanuel Acho says like some stupid things too. I don't know if that's for clickbait. See, I think and I hate to say this, I don't want to throw my name into the mix. And I know a lot of these podcasts, you look at roommates, the Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, where I believe they have the one guy that's with them, or Shaq's podcast where he has the one guy. I think they need to have just that one neutral guy, a kook sports fan, not a guy who's just a personality that has a good voice, that has a good delivery. I mean, that helps. Don't get me wrong. But a guy who's a nut job for sports. So where I could be the moderator of the podcast. Well, I understand Jalen and Josh are going to do the heavy lifting, but, I'll throw in a question every now and again. Or if they want to talk about sports facts or bring up numbers, I could be that guy and I could be like, oh, no. Or they could come out right off the bat and say a certain thing. And I go, no. That was Super Bowl 10, not Super Bowl 8. Where I could be that guy. And I think if they had that, it would be a lot better. It would bring some levity to it, because the thing is that I understand that these guys are sports fans, but they're more like prisoners of the moment as opposed to like being sports fans. And I get it. They've had lives being an NFL player. But how I look at it is that I wanted to be a baseball player, but I followed all the teams. I've watched baseball, whatever, and obviously I never played Major League Baseball, but it's a thing where it's like, no, I'm a student of watching the sport. Like Alex Rodriguez, he loved watching baseball and follows it. He's a guy that can tell you let me think of somebody that's somewhat obscure to the regular. Here's a great one. You think Shannon Sharp, Chad Johnson, LaShawn McCoy, you think any of these guys, and let's face it, let's be honest, you think any of these guys know who Norm Van Brocklin is? You think these guys know who, and you want me to go really obscure, I mean, you think they know who Billy Sims is? Like A-Rod can say, hey, of course he knows who Mike Schmidt is. I don't say that, but if I ask Alex Rodriguez who Carl Hubble is, he'll say, oh yeah, I know who Carl Hubble is. Or Bob Feller. And I even bring it, that's going back to the 30s. I'll even bring it to the 50s. He knows who Pee Wee Reese is. I'm sure he knows who Larry Doby is. These NFL players. Come on. Now, if I ask LaShawn McCoy, he probably knows who Chuck Bednarik is. And I'll give him that. But because he played in Philly, so I would think he knows who Chuck Bednarik is. But come on, Shannon Sharp, do you know who Chuck Bednarik is? Or any of these young guys? And that's the thing. That's why I take myself seriously with what it is that I do. But, I take myself seriously in that regard, my work, but I don't take myself seriously as a personality because I have fun. Whatever, get picked on, who knows? And I'm going off the beaten path. But my point is that I just don't like it that these personalities that come on here to do what they do, but meanwhile, yeah, we could talk about sports from the year 2010 to today, but yeah, if I bring up, put it this way, and let me ask people in the room. I know Bai would know this. I'm sure the novice, you know this too. I would think Chosen knows this. If I told you what was Red Right 88, game, set, match. Emmanuel Acho, you know what Red Right 88 is? And if he answers it, I'll be impressed. I would still need to know more, but that would be like the base barometer. We're talking to kooks here. Kooks. Bio's a kook. The novice is a kook. Everybody's chosen. I know, I'm sure you're a kook as well. Obviously, I'm getting to know you, which is great. Val, I know you're 22 years old. You're young, but you're always here. And I know you're a sports junkie too. Love you for that. That's my point. So speakeasy, I have not, but I got to check that out, though. And thanks to you, Donavis, for that. Sports exchange gotten soft at every. Oh, yeah. I mean, sports is... sports is... Please. And all the sports have changed. Baseball, the analytics. Everything is launch angle. It's exit velo. It's... NBA, it's about the three-point shot. Nobody wants to play inside out anymore. And go on and on and on. Mets are great to talk about. Oh, thanks, Val. I don't think sports is very, but I do think it's influenced. That's a good way to put it there, Novice. I can see that. I agree. Excellent comment. I totally agree. I'm with you. Boxing, 4 major American sports. And boxing has fallen off. I mean, fallen off a cliff. All right, Anatoly, I'll get to your comment in a sec. Yeah, boxing. And listen, I love boxing. 70s, 80s, 90s. Yeah, even into the 2000s. But then once you got to the 20 teens, put it this way. The biggest title in sports, once upon a time, was the heavyweight champion of the world. I bet you if you ask the good sports fan today, who's the heavyweight champ? And listen, I can't even, is it Tyson Fury? I believe he is. Isn't he not? Or is he not? But that just goes to show you how far boxing has fallen off. All right, Anatoly. In 2022, if that said AI, my apologies. It's Al Anatoly. And I appreciate you hopping on board, man. Thank you. So many pictures show that Argentina and Spain come in the final. Then 7. Yeah, a lot of these, I mean, Argentina scored a ton of goals late in these matches, which, listen, could you be suspicious? I can understand. I can. I'm not going to be, oh, no. Listen, I get that. And if that's how you feel, that's your opinion, I respect that. And one more time, I'm not going to sit here all naive with a halo or sports halo over my head to be like, oh, no. Donavis said it best. I don't think it's rigged. Is it influenced? It's possible. And with soccer, this is the first time I guess I got a real good taste of the potential, strong, the possibility of these games being influenced. So, when I say your teams are tough in New York, oh, you do a great job talking about. Oh, man, I appreciate that, Chosen. Thank you, man. Thank you. Let's do a Friday night show together. It'll be like old times. We're supposed to go out to every week. Friday night show. Oh, man, like old times. We're supposed to go out to every week. Donavis, you want to do something like that? Friday night. I could do a Friday night. I'm usually home. Unless, obviously, we got to be consistent with that. I know Friday nights can be tough. My wife, I want to go out. Summertime. Yeah, I know. And you and I have to talk anyway. And that's my bad. I'm not, no finger pointing right here at me. Lynx have 20 wins. I haven't followed the WNBA either. I know I've been bad with that. And even last year, I said I was going to be better with the WNBA. I just have not. I can't front. I'm with you. I wrote, okay, several places, sent in reels, spoke many times with Brendan. All right. Can't watch ESPN or listen to them. Yeah, no, ESPN's the worst. It's terrible. Yeah, no, it's bad. The Bengals will wear their white helmets on New Year's Eve against the Ravens for their first ever white Bengal stripe game. I know. And in the NFL on New Year's Eve, of course, people are going to watch. And I'm not even thinking about the NFL just now, but could you imagine? That game's going to be at 8:20. And you're getting ready to go out, and you're going to have to watch this game? Not that it's impossible, but not really on you. Once you're in the podcast world and you're doing your own show, you stop shopping around so much. Oh, no. Listen. Yeah, that's a softball fact. Being a moderator, the second person, and works better having a conversation. No, the thing is, I want to be a part of this conversation. I see that. I'll bio, you're next. That comment with Keith Hernandez. Yeah, being that second person is the buffer, but at the same time, it's also a contributor. Because, yeah, I don't want to, and to me, put it this way, if, I don't know, trying to throw a name out there. If Juan Soto was going to do a podcast and for whatever reason he wanted to tab me to be the guy to work with him, and hopefully I can work with him, his team, et cetera, to say, listen, it's your show. I get it. Juan Soto with Jay Reels, or Juan Soto and Jay Reels, whatever you want to call it. But I would also tell him, I said, listen, whatever guest that we're going to have to talk to, and because I watch baseball, I follow it immensely, et cetera, I know this is what I could bring to the table when it comes to that particular podcast. I would only hope that I would have a say in putting forth whatever it is that I want to that particular interview. And hopefully be like, yeah, sure, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's my point. I don't want to hog this show. I don't want it to be a thing where it's my show. Obviously, it's our show. But the thing is that, hey, I'm not just playing second fiddle. Because let's just say, Juan Soto brings in Mike Schmidt. And listen, Mike Schmidt, I saw more back half of his career, but he always killed the Mets. We could talk about how great of a third baseman he was. 548 career home runs. Philadelphia Philly, lifelong Philly, MVP in 1980. Oh, I mean, all that. You mean to tell me he's going to start unpacking stuff about Mike Schmidt? That he's going to talk about the 80 NLCS against the Houston Astros, that epic series when the Astros were up, 5-2 in the eighth inning and they lost in extra innings, and I think 4 of the 5 games were in extra innings. You think Juan Soto's bringing that up? His team could go and start picking these things out. But I'm going to say, I remember Nolan Ryan pitched that game 5. I was 11 years old. I remember watching it like if it was 10 minutes ago. Is he bringing that up? He's not. I did see that, which even infuriates me more as a Met fan, how Steve Phillips and the Wilpons, I'll blame them, how they did not sign A-Rod back in 2000. But I did see that. No, and it was very good. He had the bat, and Keith was signing, I guess he was signing autographs, and that was at FanFest, I believe. And I know Keith Hernandez was at FanFest on Friday. But, yeah, I did see that. That was really cool. ESPN putting people who read. No, exactly. And that's the thing. Like they say this stuff. I gotta understand that these shows have to have not a script, but they have to have an agenda, and they're going to talk about certain things. All, as I say all the time, the regurgitated narratives. Oh, the Dallas Cowboys, George Pickens, he's going to be a big threat. Nobody cares. Why? Because they're the Cowboys? Stop. But with that said, all right, you want to go by this agenda, but it should just flow naturally, organically. And I understand that, and obviously I don't watch First Take today. I could care less, and I'm sure they start off with the World Cup. They had to start off with the World Cup. I mean, listen, I start off with the World Cup. It would have been an injustice to start with the baseball, or even the golf for that matter. And listen, I've started, over the last few weeks, I've started my podcast with the World Cup. And I mean, that's sports malpractice. That's like me starting off this live stream. Oh my God, you see what happened to Cam Scatterboo? I mean, and I know you guys brought it up and it's something to talk about. I get it, but come on. If you're going to be credible, you got to talk about at the forefront what the agenda is. To me, it was no brainer. But ESPN, right, they put those people in place and it's a thing where, we have to talk about this. or we have to say it this way. All right, here's your angle, here's that angle. No. If everybody agrees, all right, they agree. And I understand it's a debate show, 100%. But this is where it becomes manufactured. No, I don't like that. To me, that's not riveting TV. A-Rod just went to Keith Hernandez signing. Yeah. And the thing he wanted to be a Met. That's old news. I know it's the Browns. Yeah. Oh, it is the Browns. Oh, you're talking about the Red Right 88? Yes, 1980. Chosen one. You're speaking to me. Red Right 88. That was the play call. End zone where it got picked off. Who picked that pass off? Was it Burgess Owens? No, Mike Davis? No. Hold on. Oh, crap. My battery's starting to run out, which is not good because I got this microphone plugged in. And how's the microphone? Microphone sounding good? Is it better than the old microphone? I'm sure it is. A little bit better. Because the other one, sometimes it's like, because it's USB, but I got XLR, baby. I got audio interface, so there shouldn't be any interference, any buzzing, any clipping, none of that. So, stepping it up. Next, I just need to have the backdrop isn't bad, but little by little, people, it's coming. It's coming. But, let me see. Hold on one second. I think Burgess, it's not Burgess. Who intercepted? Yeah, Burgess Owens was a former Jet. Red Right 88. Mike Davis. Yeah, I said Burgess Owens at first. I think Bowens was in the end zone on that play, but it was Mike Davis. Bingo and Bingo was his name. Oh, boxing is too many governing groups. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. The heavy divisions has sucked for decades until recently. Welter. Most things under 140. September? Oh, let's talk the novice. Let's do it. Every Friday? Yeah, no, we got to talk about that. I'm down. Yeah, I want to do appearances like that too. Yeah, man, I got to be visible. I got to be out here. You already know. Yeah, I was going to say maybe one show with a panel or guests, any guests. That's what I meant, not toast. Oh, yeah, no, of course. No, that's what listen, if I could do that, similar to what we've seen, and I've watched a few like the 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, the Carmelo, Kazim, DeMero, the Kid Mero, Monica McNutt. Yeah, no, that's what I'd want. I'd want to be that guy. Put me on there and that's it. Listen, I can still have my own show, but I mean, listen. Let's do it. Please. Anytime, anywhere. Show, they can record 3 a.m. Come on. 100% exactly. If anyone ever invites me on, I ask immediately, do you expect me to shut down? Yeah, no. Not happening. I agree with you, man. Oh, I hated Mike because I hate the Phillies, respected him. Soto is not bringing. Oh, yeah, of course. No, I know Schmidt killed it. I mean, what do you have? How many career home runs against us? I think he had like 64 career home runs against the Mets. Yeah, I saw that. Was at Fan Fest. Was at that Fan Fest. So pissed. I miss his shoes. Love seeing Keith and Alex. Mike sounds good. Thank you, Val. Yeah, this is the mic going forward. Sounds marvelous. Awesome. Oh, is that right? Is that right, Bio? All right. That's good. That's good. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, we have to do, and I know Danavis brought this up weeks ago. Maybe you and I, Danavis, we got to talk about this off air. Yeah, we got to do and I'll moderate. Everybody who comes into the chat room, we do a town hall. And I'll throw out topics. We'll talk about different things, banter back and forth. Absolutely. Yep, you got it, Donavis. Mike Davis. I said intro. Mike Davis interception, right? I just said intro. Very good, Donavis. You're on it. But back to this. Yeah, we got to do that. And maybe we'll see what we'll do about it before the end of the summer. We'll get everybody on. And we'll do it at night because I know people during the day, it's tough. Well, night Eastern time because I know for our folks out in the West Coast. But yeah, that'd be great to get everybody on. We'll schedule it maybe for late August. And yeah. Love to talk sports with you. Hey, man. Yeah, no, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm going to even put a note because I don't want to forget this. Even though I'm sure I'll probably be in touch with the novice. Let's see. Town Hall with group. End of August. Nope, hang on. End of August. And it'll be good. It'll be right before the football season. We'll chop it up. I'll put out thumbnail, all that ahead of time for a bunch of people to jump on board. And you guys and gals can do the same. Send it to all your family and friends. Hop on board. And yeah, it'll be fun. I'd love that. All right, let me see where I'm at my battery here. Oh, 27%. All right, I probably got a few more minutes. Let's see. Hold on. Wait. Let's go here. Let's go there. All right, that was the phone. All right. I was just checking to see if anything else has gone on in sports. Yeah, it's going to be quiet, man. Now we're probably going to get into, for sure, the Sports Dead Zone. Because all you got is baseball. Yes, I'm scrolling on the ESPN page. Stephen A. Why Cavs Warriors stand out to Stephen A as destination for LeBron. He should just say, wake me up when it's over. I mean, seriously? That's what I'd say. Messi in tears. Yeah, I didn't talk about that. All right. So there you have it, people. This was an excellent podcast. You know, I appreciate you all. I guess I'll start to land this plane here as another podcast just about in the books. I appreciate everybody's contribution. I appreciate everybody hopping on board. I guess I'll give a proper send-off. Let me just do that instead as I wind it down. But Chosen, I'll get to your comment in a second. Hang tight. That'll do it. Another episode in the books, people. I appreciate you all for stopping by, chiming in with your comments, suggestions, everything. Makes the podcast go by super quick, super smooth. For those who are listening on Apple or on Spotify, if you want to get the full breadth of the podcast, which means after my final comments about what's going on in sports, I opened it up to everybody in the chat room. We've gone back and forth. If you want to see that whole thing in its entirety, just go to the YouTube channel, click on that, or even go to Spotify for that matter, because the whole video will be up on Spotify as well. I'd really appreciate it. And please, if you haven't subscribed, whether on YouTube at JReels, also Apple Podcast, Spotify, whichever podcast platform you choose, please throw me a few stars, write a review, increase the visibility, not only of the podcast, but of the channel with all the others that are out there. We understand it's a saturated market, but of course, for what it is that I'm doing, trying to blaze a path and carve a trail, or maybe I should switch that around. Carve a path and blaze a trail in this sports podcast space. You already know. And if you need to hit me up with any questions, comments, or suggestions, you could do so at the following. On Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the JReels Podcast, or just JReels on Instagram. Twitter, JReels1 just a number. Twitch, JReels1 just a number. Or the old-fashioned way, the JReels Podcast at gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to follow up with you guys and gals, because whether you do or do not know, one more time, in the blood, in the DNA, like the t-shirt says, I am new media. And I have a video of that on my channel where I talk about I am new media. Because again, lifelong fan. This is made by a sports fan. For you guys and gals, a sports fan. Talking sports is birth, in the blood, in the DNA. And I got people in the chat room to back me up. Because as long as I sit in front of this microphone and camera, speaking my mind, putting out that passion, fire, energy, thoughts with everything that I have in my body, soul, spirit, and mind, Whether it's on the diamond, ice, gridiron, hardwood, golf course, racetrack, tennis court, boxing ring, octagon, you name it. From my lips to your ears, from my heart to your soul, from where I am to wherever you are, the J Reels podcast always comes live, correct, direct, and in full effect. From the South Bronx to South Beach, to South Central to South Pacific, and all points beyond. Peace, love, and God bless everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Don't forget, Wednesday, live stream, 12 noon Eastern time, right here on the channel. Hope to see you there as we reconnect on everything that's happening in the world of sports. And until next time on the J Reels podcast, on the flip, baby. Now, chopping it up with the chosen one. Jay is very popular. You stay with this as your regular gig, and once a week, that town hall. Everyone's doing that. You're right. Brings in new people, fans, friends. Hey, now I know the novice brought up an idea back here. I got to scroll all the way up. I wish I could separate this by user comments. I'm sure I could, but I don't know how. I think I scrolled up too high. Yeah, no, he put up something there which to me I find very enticing and intriguing. Yeah, we definitely have to do the town hall deal. I wonder if Mark Salmons would join that. Yeah, and if you're joining the town hall, everybody has to be on screen. There doesn't avatars. No. Yeah, I'm looking up your comment there. Here it is. Boom. Let's do a Friday night show together. It'll be like old times, yes. The novice and I go way back. Now, 15 years, which is crazy to even think that. And the novice and I have had some very good times. Good times, some sobering times too. But good times nevertheless. Special guest bartender every week. Yeah. Now, I know you're kidding when you say that, but no, I kind of like the thought of just doing like a Friday where we're all together or every now and again. But yeah, chosen one, absolutely. Then they subscribe to you. Boom, good stuff. Email you. I'm out. God bless you. God bless you too, chosen one. Thank you, man. Much appreciate you. Much appreciate your time. And that goes for everybody, as you all know. I say it. I know it's profuse. I know you're probably sick of me. All right, we get it, J Reels. Yeah, I know. You thank us, blah, blah, blah. But listen, it's humbling. But it's fantastic. I love it. I'm glad I get to do what I got to do. And I'll also fill you in on the, the on-air host deal. So, all right, any last words from anybody before I sign off for sure? Just so I could get this up in the can. I also got to start editing for this thing for my the Fanatics Fan Fest deal, among other things. And I have to go out for a run. I haven't run just yet. And obviously the air is clear with the fires north of the border. The air quality right now, I know this morning I saw 48%, which was excellent. And look, it's 79 degrees. It's like beyond perfect. The air quality is 50. It's good. Air index is 50, which is similar to yesterday about this time. So yes, your brother needs to go out and run because I hadn't run all week because of those damn fires. But last comments. Oh, bio. I'd be available every Friday night. Fantastic. Who knows, bio? If you got a new mic, hey, I may call you in on more than one occasion. Yeah, no blank in your face. Agreed. All good. Yeah. You can tell your heart's in the right places. Ah, thanks, man. You're too kind, Chosen, but I appreciate that. You know, it's, hey, this goes to show you whatever you put out is what you're going to get back. And thanks to you, Chosen. I appreciate that. And everybody else, too. The novice, Val. Go on down the list, please. I mean, I'll be here forever. Bio, Waffle Iron, a.k.a. Minnesota Fats, Tatsuya Mai. We know the deal. Val, I don't know if J-Rod is still with us. If Fishing Angel's still with us, this goes out to the people that haven't been with us for a while. I know Toppers was on the live a couple of days ago. My guy Victor E out in the West Coast too. Drew's Gems. Brent, north of the border. I hope he and his family doing all right. I got to reach out to him, by the way. Ray Condi. Ray, I hope you're doing well. Ray actually was on the live a couple days ago, so he's doing well. So, yeah, no blanket face, none of that. None of it. Bio's ready. I'm sure already. Have a great sports day, everyone. Yes, and to you and everybody out there, the novice, I'll be in touch with you later on. And also, the novice, I'll be in touch with you. Waffle Iron, I know you hit me up with that email. I'll follow up. And if chosen, if you hit me up too, I'll do the same. I just got to edit. I got to do a few things on my end before I tie a bow on this podcast. So you got it, no doubt, 100%. Until next time, everybody, peace, love, and God bless. Wednesday, live stream, 12 noon Eastern. Until then, on the flip.